The man had only been gaming when he told his girlfriend to get on her knees. He simply wanted to experience that bizarre clash of burning heat and freezing cold, but then her mouth stretched wide to her ears. A horrifying scream blasted through the headset, reaching the man as he kept pushing the tower. Instead of panicking, he calmly destroyed the enemy crystal. Then, relying purely on memory, he opened the door being pounded on by his beautiful neighbor. He told her she could come inside and hide, but only if she closed her eyes first. The woman agreed, implying that as long as she could get in, he could do whatever he wanted. It sounded more like a sinister deal than a plea for help. The next instant, the man raised a kitchen knife and sliced off her head without hesitation. A system notification appeared. Potential zombie eliminated. Points acquired. The man's name was Lin Fan, an ordinary interior designer who lived alone. An hour earlier, he had kindly helped a terrified neighbor, but she suddenly mutated and bit him to death. The moment he died, he somehow connected to a zombie apocalypse survival system. That connection rewound time, sending him back 1 hour before his death. He spent his newly earned points on strength and felt his power increase within seconds. Meanwhile, the beautiful neighbor's headless corpse attracted another zombie. When Lin Fan opened the door, the zombie finally noticed him. Its twisted, rotten head turned toward him, eyes locking onto him. A few seconds later, the creature let out a guttural roar and charged at the fresh flesh. Lin Fan struck again, and with one clean slash, the zombie's head hit the floor. The system displayed another message. Zombie killed. Points earned. Looking at the neighbor's partially intact body, Lin Fan realized more zombies would eventually come. All he needed to do was stay hidden behind the door and ambush them. An hour later, the hallway was overflowing with corpses. His points had skyrocketed. Afterward, he searched for the neighbor's body but could not find it anywhere. Wait, don't tell me they already ate her. That's a problem. Disgusting. They're going to rot soon anyway. The hallway is a shared area. I'd better clean up this mess. He grabbed a rope and tied all the bodies together. Just as he was about to drag them to the garbage pile, the ceiling light began flickering with a buzz. In the corner, a shadow emerged as a man in a wheelchair slowly approached. It was a middle-aged addict who had been electrocuted while stealing electrical wires. He survived but lost both legs. The moment he saw Lin Fan alive, he growled wildly and lunged toward fresh meat. Lin Fan swung the knife once more. Another perfect decapitation. Uncle Zhang, didn't you live on the 2nd floor? How did you make it up here? You came all the way to the 7th floor just to lend me your wheelchair. Perfect timing. I was just wondering how to move these bodies downstairs. You're too kind, Uncle Zhang. Don't worry. I'll return it when I'm done. Lin Fan dumped all the corpses into the trash downstairs. Lin Fan still could not believe it. The world had truly ended. If he wanted to survive, he needed to gather supplies. Then he wondered, does this count as regular trash or recyclable waste? Living alone really sucks. There's nobody to talk to, and nobody to answer your stupid questions. At that moment, the addicted son of Uncle Zhou from the 2nd floor waved at him. That guy had bullied Lin Fan before. Once he stole Lin Fan's bicycle, and the police had to intervene. Even after returning it the next day, he still beat Lin Fan over the incident. Lin Fan gave him a cold stare. What do you want? The guy froze. That idiot had actually spoken out loud. Isn't he afraid of attracting zombies? He smiled. Idiots are easy to manipulate, and I'm starving. I can use this fool to work for me. He scribbled something on a piece of paper. Go find food and water. Bring everything to my door. Lin Fan shook his head. Why would I do that? No chance. The man's lips trembled with anger. You bastard, he muttered before writing again. Do what I say and I'll let you stay with me. When the time comes, I'll take you to my secret base. Lin Fan remained calm. I'm still not doing it. The man's expression darkened as rage boiled inside him. Fine, he thought. If you want to die, I'll help you. You brought this on yourself, he shouted while throwing several metal sheets at Lin Fan's door. The metal crashed loudly onto the floor. Seconds later, the hallway erupted with growls as multiple zombies rushed toward Lin Fan. Watching from the 2nd floor, the bald man burst into laughter. Not acting so tough now, huh? Where's all that attitude? You can't even move your legs. The next second, Lin Fan swung his blade and cut off 2 zombie heads in a single strike. The system chimed immediately. 2 kills, 2 points. The bald man's laughter stopped instantly. Holy hell, this guy is seriously strong. He snarled. Fine, you've got skills. But so what? There's still another zombie left. Too slow to react now, aren't you? Anyone who challenges me deserves to die. Lin Fan lifted the last zombie onto his shoulder, not because he could not kill it, but because he chose not to. Then, with a casual motion, he hurled the zombie upstairs. A special delivery for the bald guy. The man caught it on instinct, stunned by his own stupidity. Why the hell did I grab that? As screams echoed through the building, Lin Fan waved casually. If you've got questions, ask away. At least you won't be alone like me. Lin Fan arrived at a nearby supermarket. The moment he entered, he easily killed several hidden zombies. After gathering supplies, he instinctively walked to the checkout counter and stared at the zombified cashier. This should last me a while. I even bought seeds. Once I find a safe place to plant them, I can live off the land. But this knife is finished. While thinking about finding a new weapon, a speeding bus suddenly roared down the street. The deafening engine noise attracted a massive horde of zombies within seconds. The blinding headlights awakened memories of his tragic childhood. When Lin Fan was young, his mother died in an accident. His father, desperate to stay with his mistress, planned to abandon him. But Lin Fan's crying made the woman, his aunt, lose patience. Disgusted, she yanked the steering wheel from his father's hands and screamed that she would stop the bus to teach him a lesson. The vehicle crashed head-on into a truck. Lin Fan was still trapped in that dark memory when the bus driver's rough voice snapped him back to reality. Hey kid, want a ride? Too bad. I'm not taking you. Stay there and let the zombies rip you apart. A shy boy beside him quietly objected. We can't leave him behind. The zombies we attracted could kill him. The teacher said we should help people. Before he could finish, the driver dragged a finger across his neck, mimicking a slash, then spat on the ground. Teacher, to hell with your teacher. This is the apocalypse. I'll do whatever I want. You little glasses-wearing nerds think you can lecture me? He mocked. I've always hated smart kids. You're nothing but the teacher's pets. Without her protecting you, you're just prey. Since you care so much about others, I'll be generous. I'll send you down there so you can keep him company. The driver shoved the boy off the bus and sped away. Even as he drove off, he nervously checked the rearview mirror. That idiot is carrying a kitchen knife. Don't tell me he actually plans to fight the horde alone. Lin Fan finally snapped out of his thoughts and muttered softly. I'm not going to die. Mom and I made a promise. I'll become the brave, kind, and exceptional man she always believed I could be. With that, he hurled the kitchen knife straight into the bus tire. Powered by his immense strength, the blade pierced deeply through the rubber. The bus lost control, slammed into a street sign, and flipped over. The arrogant driver now screamed like a terrified animal. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Please save me. Lin Fan stared at him coldly. You're not sorry for what you did. You're only scared because you finally realized you're about to die. A faint smile crossed his face. Oh really? Your friends are here. I'll let you chat with them. The man froze. What are you talking about? I don't have friends. Wait, come back. Save me. Then the boy whose throat he had slit appeared in front of the overturned bus alongside the zombie horde chasing him, and they tore the driver apart without mercy. By now, Lin Fan's strength stat had reached an astonishing 35 points. As he passed a nearby apartment complex, a woman's voice called out from above, a single mother standing beside her daughter. Hey young man, how did you get through all those zombies at the intersection? Never mind that. What matters now is, Lin Fan had no intention of stopping, but when he saw the starving little girl beside her, he could not ignore them. He approached the door and found the woman kneeling. Sir, I know this is too much to ask, but please share a little food with us. I have nothing left. My husband died. I don't have any other option. I don't need much. Just enough for my daughter. Lin Fan handed her 2 pumpkins and a squash. Here, take these. The woman looked stunned. Does money even matter anymore? Even so, she accepted the food. Then Lin Fan noticed a replica weapon hanging on the wall. The woman removed the sword. My husband loved games. He bought this as a prop. If you want it, take it. It's dangerous outside. You can use it to protect yourself. Lin Fan said he felt guilty accepting it, yet he could not take his eyes off the weapon. Take it, she insisted. My daughter and I don't need it. You need it more. Lin Fan politely said goodbye. Don't worry, I won't take it for free. Call me if you ever need anything. The little girl thought he was strange, but her mother whispered softly, maybe we're the broken ones. Lin Fan excitedly inspected the replica weapon. I've seen this online before. I always wanted one. This will be perfect for cutting down zombies. At that moment, a woman suddenly fell from above and crashed at his feet. Her body was covered in bruises, dark blue and purple marks spreading across patches of uninjured skin. On the 5th floor, a fat man watched with annoyance, his face scratched up. What a waste. When am I going to find another toy like that? From below, Lin Fan realized the woman had suffered horrific abuse. The desperation, anger, and helplessness in her eyes were the same emotions his mother carried when she left his father. He decided to seek justice for her and confronted the fat man. Why did you do that? The man froze. He had not expected to see anyone walking outside. Then he cursed angrily. Who the hell are you? You don't live here, do you? This building is my territory. I can do whatever I want with the women here. What are you going to do about it? Lin Fan knew he had to act. After all, the mother and daughter who gave him the weapon also lived there. He picked up the body, counted the floors, and confirmed the fat man was on the 5th floor. The fat man assumed Lin Fan had come to loot. What is it? Came to grab the corpse and have some fun? Too bad dead bodies don't move. Even inflatable dolls are better. He mocked him while lifting his chin arrogantly. Get lost before I lose my patience. I'll show you what real pain feels like. Still muttering insults, he threw himself onto the couch and opened a beer. Maybe I should look for some new toys in this building. In the apocalypse, I can do whatever I want. Being king feels amazing. Then someone knocked on the door. The fat man jumped up, grabbed a wooden bat, and peeked through the peephole. Who the hell is knocking? Don't tell me it's a zombie. Damn it, if the hallway is full of them, how am I supposed to find new toys? But what he saw through the peephole left him frozen in fear. It was the woman he had just tortured to death. Even a monster like him trembled at the sight. Outside, Lin Fan calmly held the corpse upright while knocking. Open the door. I know you're in there. The moment he heard Lin Fan's voice, the fat man sighed in relief and shouted, Oh, it's you, idiot. Get lost, you lunatic. You want to die? A cruel grin spread across his face. All I have to do is yell, and the zombies will tear this moron to pieces. I'm a genius. The next instant, the reinforced door burst inward with a deafening crash. The fat man collapsed to the floor in shock, eyes wide open. How did he break down a steel door with one kick? Lin Fan glanced around and saw torture tools scattered across the room. The fat man struggled to stand while still shouting insults. What is this, you freak? You brought a corpse into my house? Looking for trouble. Lin Fan answered calmly. Of course I brought her. You deserve to pay for what you did to her. Moments later, he had the fat man tied up, gagged, and ready to be delivered to the police station. The fat man growled and struggled violently. You're insane. Let me go. Have you never watched zombie movies or read apocalypse novels? If you had, you'd know how to survive. Isn't it amazing being able to do whatever you want? Linfen slapped him hard across the face. You're an idiot. Stories are fiction. This is real life. You can't even tell the difference. The slap hit so hard it sent the man flying through the police station doors, dizzy and burning with pain. The man muttered, "Who's the one who can't tell reality from fiction now? You think bringing me here changes anything? It's the apocalypse. Everyone's gone. Nobody can punish me anymore." Linfen's smile turned cold. "You're wrong. There's still someone left." The man's eyes darted around. His body stiffened as rotten breath touched the back of his neck. A group of zombie police officers had surrounded him. Linfen spoke in a low, calm voice. "See, even as zombies, they still uphold justice by punishing criminals." The next day, an armored truck stopped outside the city library. 3 survivors stepped out. They were searching for medical books. Carefully scanning the area, they noticed there were no zombies nearby. Maybe we got lucky," one of them said. But the leader, a sharp-eyed woman, raised her hand. "Wait, don't rush inside." She struck a steel pillar with her knife to test the surroundings. Her 2 companions tensed immediately, ready to run if a horde appeared. When nothing happened, she nodded. "All right, let's move. Check the medical section first." At that moment, Linfan appeared from behind a bookshelf and greeted them with a smile. One of the boys screamed and nearly fell over in fear. "My God, it's a zombie." Linfan waved frantically. No, relax. I'm human. I'm alive." The woman frowned. "Then what are you doing here?" Linfan raised the book in his hand, a guide to growing vegetables, and smiled. "Reading, obviously. What else do people do in a library?" One of the men muttered quietly, thinking it actually made sense. "Boss, that really was a dumb question." The leader hissed back, "Shut up." Then she politely spoke to Linfan. "We don't want any trouble. Sorry if we disturbed you." Linfan replied, "It's fine. Just keep your voices down. This is a library." The 3 exchanged uneasy looks, suspecting some kind of trap. One of them whispered, "That sword he's carrying looks like one from a game, so it checks out. But this guy has to be crazy." The leader also refused to take risks. Whether he was dangerous or simply unstable, she did not want to provoke him. "Don't start anything. Grab the books quickly and let's leave." She had a strange feeling that Linfan was not someone to mess with. She had no proof, only instinct. The trio hurried their search and prepared to leave. Linfan, still reading, called out to them, "Leaving already?" The 3 immediately stiffened. Afraid he was about to cause trouble, the leader tried to remain polite. "Do you need something?" Linfan answered, "If you're borrowing that many books, you need to register them. They aren't personal property. Loans should be recorded." The 3 froze in place. One of them spat angrily. "Are you serious? Do you even know what's happening outside? What psychiatric hospital did you escape from?" The leader found his logic bizarre but still asked politely, "Can I ask you something? Do you know what's happening outside right now?" Linfan calmly replied, "Yes, I do. It's the apocalypse. There are zombies outside biting people. Other than that, not much has changed." The leader's expression darkened. She could not tell whether he was genuinely insane or only pretending. One of the men was already expecting trouble. "Man, you know what's out there, right? Don't do anything stupid." "Whatever, let's mind our own business." Linfan tried to reassure them. "Relax, I don't want to hurt anyone. Just a warning. It's dangerous outside, so don't cause trouble. Oh, and I'm Linfan. I live in Building 2, Apartment 704, Sunshine Complex. If you run into problems, come find me. I'm strong. Even hundreds of zombies are no match for me." The 3 silently confirmed the same conclusion. "He's insane. Run." The leader quickly thanked him and fled the library with her companions before Linfan could say anything else. "They disappeared too fast. I didn't even get your names," he murmured with a shrug. "Whatever. Morning is the best time to study. If I want to survive alone, I should master farming." Meanwhile, inside an underground desert facility, scientists wearing protective suits work non-stop. The zombies' cellular activity increases a little every day. "So you're saying they're evolving? Something like that? Forget that. What I want to know is this. Can we create an antibody? No. This virus is unlike anything we've ever seen. It doesn't resemble any known strain. Have you heard of the zombie gene? You mean these people died and came back in another form?" Back in the city, Linfan closed his farming book and returned to his apartment complex. He found an open patch of land that was perfect for planting crops, but it was public property. Farming there could attract zombies or angry neighbors. So he shouted, "I'm Linfan from Sunshine Complex, Building 2, Apartment 704. Starting today, I'm planting vegetables here. Anybody got a problem with that?" As expected, his shout attracted every zombie nearby. Even the ones inside nearby buildings smashed through windows and jumped out within seconds. The open field was instantly overrun by the undead. Linfan drew his weapon and sliced through them. Their bodies split apart like soft tofu. His system points soared instantly. Minutes later, corpses covered the ground. Linfan no longer had to worry about zombies invading his garden. Just to be safe, he shouted toward the neighborhood again. Anyone else got a problem with this? When no zombies appeared, intense hunger suddenly hit him. He decided to eat something and check on the mother and daughter. He found a soft-shelled turtle at a nearby market and brought supplies to the 2 before sharing dinner with them. The woman spoke gently. "I know people don't help others without a reason. You've already done so much for us. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, but my husband is gone. If something happens to me, my daughter." Linfan understood the implication. He set down his chopsticks and calmly asked, "What exactly do you want me to do?" The woman froze, surprised by how quickly he accepted. Blushing, she quietly replied, "I want to go with you, together with my daughter." Linfan blinked, not understanding her meaning. "Oh, you mean move into my apartment complex? Sure, I can talk to the property manager for you. The woman stared at him in total confusion. Were we even having the same conversation? Meanwhile, at the top of a luxury apartment tower across the city, a middle-aged man's phone vibrated. His face lit up. Every call felt like a possible rescue opportunity. Hello? Mr. Shen answered. A formal voice replied, I'm calling about the property you listed through Shin Phone. Is it still available to rent? Shen froze and immediately hung up. Is this some kind of joke? Look outside. The world is ending. The apocalypse had spread rapidly, and only the strict security of their residential complex had kept them alive for a few days. They kept expecting rescue helicopters to appear in the sky, but none ever came. Just as Shen sank deeper into despair, the phone rang again. He shouted before the caller could even speak. Are you crazy? Lin Fan sounded honestly confused. Why are you yelling? I just want to rent your apartment. Shen hung up again, furious. Lin Fan sighed. What is wrong with this guy? Fine, I'll call again. Veins bulged on Shen's forehead. You idiot. What do you actually want? Lin Fan stayed calm. Mr. Shen, I only want to rent your apartment. There's no need to get so worked up. Shen's patience finally snapped. Fine. You want it? Then it's yours. I'm on the rooftop of Tower 3. Come rent it in person. If you've got the guts, come find me. After securing the agreement, Lin Fan quickly said goodbye to the mother and daughter. Wait here. I'm going to sign the contract for you right now. The woman tried to stop him, but he had already shut the door and left. Elsewhere, a young man approached Shen. Boss, what happened? He whispered. Shen shrugged. Nothing. Just some idiot. The young man pulled Shen aside. Forget about him. Come with me. We need to discuss something serious, he murmured quietly. I did the math. Our supplies will only last about 2 weeks. Shen frowned. So what are you suggesting? The young man smiled coldly. There are 15 of us total. Those 4 old people are dead weight. We need to deal with them. Shen hesitated. Doing something like that openly could upset the others. Those elderly people shared food with us these past few days. The young man grinned. Leave it to me. After we get rid of the old people, we'll eliminate the extra men too. As for the women, the unattractive ones go too, while the pretty ones stay. At least we'll have something to entertain ourselves with. After all, nobody knew when the apocalypse would end. With the apartment secured, Lin Fan rode his bike toward the tower. Along the way, he casually killed several zombies wandering the streets. Survivors peeked at him through windows and alleyways. Some begged for help, while others mocked him, convinced he would not survive long. Sooner or later, they believed the zombies would devour him. After traveling for quite a while, Lin Fan looked back and noticed the horde following him had disappeared. He stopped at the apartment complex gate and studied the place. It was far more luxurious than his old neighborhood. On the rooftop, a group had gathered together, planning something inhuman, stealing the elderly residents' supplies and throwing them off the building. The younger people whispered among themselves, but the elderly were not blind. Wang Zinu, a retired soldier who had survived many battles, tried to comfort the wife of a retired military doctor standing beside him. Gowan sighed heavily. Supplies are running low. Maybe these young people see us as a burden. Still, the future belongs to them. The country and society will need them to rebuild. Nearby, retired military engineer Zhou Yudin chuckled softly. Have you really accepted this so calmly? Wang, have you really accepted this so calmly? Wang asked whether he felt the same way. Zhou Aljin nodded. We spent our entire lives fighting. There's not much left for us now. We can't completely blame the younger generation. Survival comes first. Hop Yuan Yang's wife rolled her eyes. We suffered for decades already. A little more suffering won't change anything. Meanwhile, Shen and Zhou had already gathered most of the younger residents and were now approaching the 4 elderly people. Zhou secretly had an even darker plan. Kill the elderly first, then the extra men, and finally Shen himself. That way, all the women and supplies would belong to him alone. But Wang Zongju stepped forward and addressed the group. We know what you're thinking, so don't worry. We won't take your supplies, and you don't need to throw us off the building. Some stains never disappear. They'll haunt you forever. We old folks will go downstairs ourselves and face whatever happens. Even so, the younger group refused to back down. No way. We can't let you stay alive. If you open the security door downstairs, you could attract an entire horde. We have to throw you off from here. In the middle of the tense standoff, knocking echoed from the rooftop entrance. A voice called from outside. Mr. Shen, are you there? It's me, the one who called. Can I rent your apartment? Shen screamed as if he had seen a ghost. It's the apocalypse. Who's renting apartments right now? Who are you? Before he could finish, the thick metal gate blasted open with a thunderous crash. Lin Fan's strength had already reached 40 points. He accidentally used too much force and broke the gate down. Shu leaned toward Shen and whispered a plan. Tell him the apartment is already rented. We'll watch him go downstairs. Then we push the old people off. The noise will attract zombies. He'll run and we'll be safer. Shen grinned. Good idea. This kid is smart and ruthless. He waved dismissively. Fine, the place is yours. Go ahead. Lin Fan had not expected it to be that easy. He pulled out a thick stack of cash from his pocket. Shen blinked in shock. This guy's an idiot. Shen growled. All right, stay as long as you want. Now leave. As Lin Fan turned to go, he noticed the elderly group preparing to leave the rooftop. Excuse me, he called out. Are you Zhou Aljin? Zhou Aljin looked surprised. You know me, young man? Lin Fan nodded excitedly and shook his hand. I saw you on television when 4 countries blocked our weapons technology. Your team broke through the blockade. You're a national hero. Zhou Aljin laughed softly. That was a long time ago. You're exaggerating. Lin Fan turned toward the others. Are you really going downstairs? It's dangerous out there. Zhou Aljin shook his head. We can't stay. Supplies are limited. The younger generation needs them. We've lived long enough already. There's no point wasting what little remains on us. Lin Fan's expression darkened, his mind filled with images of elderly people being abandoned, mistreated, and left to die. Even Shen shivered when he saw Lin Fan's face. This guy is dangerous. Lin Fan slowly exhaled. Please come with me. My place is safe. I can protect all of you. The elderly group gently refused. Thank you, son. But no, you've already done enough just by caring. Lin Fan insisted. I'm seriously strong. Come with me. I'll even help you rent apartments in my complex. The elderly exchanged awkward glances. Zhou Aljin hid his discomfort with a laugh. This young man really is unique. Lin Fan grabbed Zhou Aljin's hand and said, don't hesitate. Trust me. Come with me. Shen moved to stop the elderly group, but Shu held him back. Xiao whispered, Boss, let them go. Once they're downstairs, they'll attract the zombies. He and the old people will get torn apart together. Those elderly men had once been willing to die for their country. Now in old age, they were being forced out of the safe zone by the younger generation. The younger survivors gathered up the elderly people's supplies while continuing to throw flower pots downstairs to make noise. Their plan was to attract nearby zombies and let them devour the elderly group. The older generation never expected such cruelty from their successors. Men who once protected their comrades on the battlefield had never imagined facing betrayal like this. Only the retired military engineer Zhou Aljin sensed something strange. He frowned. Have you noticed how many zombie corpses are lying on the ground? Could someone have discovered a way to kill them? Hank shrugged. There's no way something like that could be developed so quickly. When he finished speaking, everyone turned toward Lin Fan. Lin Fan shifted awkwardly. I didn't really have a choice. I had to kill them to safely reach the rooftop. The elderly group stopped looking at the bodies. They were stunned that he had killed so many zombies by himself. Meanwhile, the rooftop survivors had already thrown down every plant pot they could find, yet no zombies appeared. Shen frowned and shoved a man aside. Move, let me see what's going on. One glance downstairs covered his back in cold sweat. What the hell? Why are zombie corpses everywhere? Then a sudden scream rang out. The man leaning over the edge had been pushed by Shu. The other survivors froze in horror at what they had just witnessed. But Shu Chao simply adjusted his tie and calmly said, What's wrong? If noise won't attract them, we'll use blood. The smell carries farther. Shen burst into laughter and clapped loudly. Brilliant, Xiao, he shouted as the others quickly copied him. Grinning cruelly, the man smashed into the ground below. His body burst apart. Blood sprayed everywhere, staining the street red. Distant zombies caught the scent of fresh blood and rushed toward the area like wild beasts. On the rooftop, Shen laughed loudly. Nice one, Xiao. I can't wait to see those idiots run now. I'm looking forward to hearing them scream. Zhou Aljin's wife, a former teacher, panicked. What are we supposed to do? She cried. Lin Fan suddenly asked, Do you have a car? Wang blinked. A car? Yes, we do. It's in the garage. Why? Lin Fan smiled over his shoulder. Perfect. My bicycle can't carry this many people. Drive to the place I mentioned. Then he added, I've got something to take care of first. With that, he sprinted toward the gate. Wang and Zhou Aljin shouted after him. You're still young. Leave while you still can. We'll hold them off. If someone has to die, let it be us old people. Their wives pulled them back immediately. Enough with the hero speeches. That boy isn't ordinary. The best thing we can do is stay out of his way. Meanwhile, Lin Fan reached the apartment complex gate. He muttered quietly, I warned them. Zombies that never exercise have terrible stamina. It took them forever to make it up here. Shen frowned. Strange. The whole horde still hasn't broken in. Why is he heading over there? Xiao Chao smirked crookedly. He probably panicked. What else could it be? Moments later, Shen started laughing again. Damn, you were right. That idiot actually opened the gate. Huh? Wait, why is he running again? Xiao shrugged. Instinct. Even an idiot feels fear. Shen nodded approvingly. You've got brains, Xiao. But Shen's smile suddenly disappeared. Hold on. Something's wrong. He's running toward us. Both men turned pale. Damn it. He's leading the zombies straight here. Below them, the undead surged forward like a black tide, chasing Lin Fan into the residential tower. Moments later, Lin Fan reappeared on the rooftop. The crowd shouted, What the hell are you doing? Lin Fan crouched calmly behind a door panel. Still completely relaxed, he replied, Weren't you the ones who wanted zombies up here? I'm just helping out. You're welcome. Seconds later, dozens of zombies flooded onto the rooftop. Their eyes locked onto fresh prey. All color drained from Shen's face. You bastard. You damned bastard, he screamed. After the four elderly people moved into Lin Fan's apartment complex, everyone quickly grew close. They often shared simple meals together, and Lime Me with her daughter brought warmth back to the once silent residential area. One afternoon, Feifei noticed Lin Fan staring at her. She nervously touched her cheek, thinking something was on her face. After a long silence, Lin Fan finally asked, Where's your school backpack? Feifei blinked in confusion. My school backpack? What backpack? Lin Fan pointed at her. Even during the apocalypse, you're still a kid. There's not much you can do right now. So study. Grandma Yang used to be a teacher. She can help you. I'll go get your books and backpack later, Fifi pouted. But the world already ended. Do I seriously still have to study? Limai thought for a moment before nodding. Sweetheart, listen to your uncle. Studying is the one thing you can still do. Limai stood up smiling. First things first. I'm taking out the trash and bringing Fifi's stuff back. Fifi sighed dramatically. Uncle, what did I ever do to deserve this? And just like that, the once quiet Sunshine Complex became lively again, now home to 6 survivors. That night, 2 zombies staggered toward a nearby 2-story repair shop. The next second, 2 arrows pierced their skulls and dropped them instantly. The shooter was a former amateur archer, now scavenging the streets and clearing corpses one by one. The zombies inside the repair shop, however, were too dangerous to confront directly. Any extra noise could attract a horde. He was not alone. A woman and 2 other men worked with him. Their food would only last another week, though at least the water supply still worked. Someone had to be keeping the treatment station running. Suddenly, a deafening explosion echoed outside, making the archer go pale. Flames burst from a nearby building, instantly drawing every zombie in the area. The short-haired woman rushed to the window angrily. Who the hell made noise out there? A woman was running desperately through the street, screaming in terror as the horde closed in. Then a gigantic hand slammed down and crushed her into a pool of blood. A colossal mutant zombie nearly 13 feet tall stood there, its body wrapped in dark mist, monstrous and overwhelming. The short-haired woman's lips trembled. A mutant zombie. They can evolve. At that moment, the sound of trash can wheels scraping across the pavement came from a nearby alley. She froze, thinking another giant creature was approaching. But instead, Lin Fan calmly appeared, pushing a dumpster and knocking aside both the horde and the mutant as if they weighed nothing. His strength stat had already reached its limit. His stamina and speed had surpassed normal human levels. As he passed through the alley, he did not even bother glancing at the fallen giant. The short-haired woman crouched on the second floor of the repair shop, recognized him and whispered, "It's him? It's really him?" The others felt as though they had narrowly escaped death. "I'm hallucinating. Someone's pushing a dumpster. Boss, he attracted the zombies. Maybe we'll survive after all." The scene shifted back to the supermarket beneath Limbo's old apartment building. Lin Fan parked the dumpster at the apartment complex gate and went upstairs to collect Fifi's backpack and books. The thugs hiding on the supermarket's second floor shouted, "Hey, what are you doing?" Lin Fan looked up calmly and replied, "Do you need something? The apartment dumpster is full. I'm just looking for a place to throw this away while grabbing a few things." Before he could finish, they started mocking him. Listen to this guy taking out the trash. What a talent. Only during the apocalypse would someone specialize in garbage work. Lin Fan did not find it strange at all. Taking out the trash is normal. Apocalypse or not, life goes on. If you need help, just ask. The bald thug shouted back, "You idiot. We're living comfortably up here and you're asking if we need help? Want me to scream? I can call the horde over so you can run around for our entertainment." Lin Fan did not waste time arguing. He waved goodbye and walked away. That brief reaction only encouraged the gang's cruelty. They decided to lure zombies over just to watch someone get chased. Confident the second floor was completely safe since zombies could not fly. The 4 men then began howling into the street like broken loudspeakers. They kept screaming for several minutes, yet not a single zombie appeared. What the hell? Where are all the zombies? There's no way this whole area is clean. They couldn't have just disappeared. Across the street, Lin Fan stood behind another building's gate and glanced back. "Relax," he said calmly. "They'll be here soon." Then he vanished from sight. The thugs grumbled in annoyance. What a buzzkill. Even the zombies don't want to kill that idiot. Suddenly, the ground began shaking. Small rocks bounced violently as heavy footsteps thundered closer. "Oh no, something's coming. What the hell is that sound?" Before they could finish speaking, a gigantic grotesque face filled the second floor window. In the next instant, the giant zombie crushed and tore apart 3 of the thugs. Meanwhile, Lin Fan had already reached the bookstore on the first floor of the opposite building. As he climbed the stairs, he heard the weak cries of a baby. Following the sound, he arrived at the landing around the corner. A woman hung there lifeless. Her baby was still alive, but the mother had chosen to end her own life. She had given up her final chance to survive for the child's sake. The baby kept crying weakly, the sound fading little by little. Lin Fan gently lifted the infant from the dead woman's arms, his hands awkwardly trying to soothe the exhausted cries. Then he noticed something hidden inside the blanket, a small diary. Inside was written, "No rescue, no food. I'm getting weaker. I know I won't last much longer. I saw the dead turn into zombies. I don't want to hurt my baby. While I can still think clearly, I have to do what's necessary. I'm afraid I might bite her, so I broke my own teeth and taped my mouth shut. That way, even if I become a zombie, I can't hurt her. My baby's name is Mink. If someone finds this, please let her live. And if you can't, please don't leave her outside. I don't want her to be eaten." Lin Fan sighed softly. "Rest in peace. I'll do everything I can to keep your daughter alive." But the moment he spoke, a basketball rolled strangely toward his feet. A second later, a zombie resembling Garfield lunged at him. It moved far faster than any zombie he had encountered before. Intrigued, Lin Fan drew his sword. How could a creature like this exist there while the baby was still alive? Then he realized the truth. The creature had been waiting, using the baby as bait to lure in compassionate people. With that thought, Lin Fan swung his blade and split the evolved speed-type zombie in half. The system chimed. 3 additional attribute points gained. This one one was different. It clearly possessed some level of intelligence. From the creature's remains, a faintly glowing red crystal popped out. Linfen blinked and muttered to himself. Must have been a bookworm zombie. It probably studied too much in this bookstore. I guess it's true. Knowledge really is power. Anyway, since I'm here, I'll grab some worksheets and exams for FIFO. She seems like the studious type. She's going to panic when she sees all this. Far beneath a desert base far away, a professor stared wide-eyed at a sealed red crystal. You're saying this came from inside a zombie's skull? A female officer saluted. Yes, sir. The specimen behaved abnormally, so after dissection we discovered this crystal inside its brain. Tell me everything, the professor requested. The first shot was fired by Nan, she explained. It was a sniper rifle aimed directly at the head, but the zombie didn't die. Instead, it charged toward the base at incredible speed. He kept firing. Every bullet hit its head, yet it only collapsed after the skull was completely destroyed. Before this, every zombie we encountered could be killed with a simple headshot, but this one survived even high-caliber rounds. It makes no sense. The professor frowned deeply. The zombies are evolving, but why like this? They're becoming strong enough that headshots no longer kill them, so they're turning into monsters. At this point, only 2 bases in China were still maintaining communication: the Dragon Palace and Galaxy Base. He sighed heavily. If the undead continue evolving, can humanity really save what remains of the world? The officer hesitated, blushing slightly. Sir, I have an idea. It's not exactly scientific, but I used to read zombie novels. In those stories, zombies have crystals in their brains that serve as evolution materials. Humans who kill zombies can absorb the crystal's energy and grow stronger, even beyond normal humans. Maybe this crystal works the same way. The professor looked completely confused. He had never read a novel in his life. Just hearing about zombie fiction left him staring blankly in disbelief. Meanwhile, Lin Fan calmly exited the bookstore carrying the rescued baby. His relaxed pace caught the attention of a woman watching from above. Her name was Sushil, a baking influencer once famous for cake videos while wearing elaborate lace Lolita dresses. Suddenly, Lin Fan looked directly at her window. Startled, Sushil covered her mouth and crouched behind the ledge. Damn, he looked right over here. Did he see me? Lin Fan noticed a faint shadow moving behind the glass. A survivor, he thought. But before he could think further, a car skidded to a stop outside the nearby police station. After confirming there were no zombies nearby, 4 men stepped out. They were underworld gangsters. Lin Fan casually waved at them. Even from a distance, he could smell the heavy scent of blood clinging to them. The shaved-head man froze. What the hell? There's still someone alive out here? The man with the perm whispered. Should we get rid of him? The man with the bun shook his head. Don't attract attention. Remember, we're here under the boss's orders. The fat man nodded. Yeah, if we don't find what the boss wants, he'll skin us alive. Meanwhile, the bald man inside the car stared coldly at Lin Fan. He's not even running. The moment those guys grab the weapons, I'll tie him to the bumper and let the zombies tear him apart. But before he finished thinking, Lin Fan's face suddenly appeared right outside the car window. Smiling strangely, Lin Fan locked eyes with him, his tone calm yet sharp. So, what exactly are you doing here? The bald man nearly screamed. What? He was across the street a second ago. At that moment, the 4 men who had entered the police station returned carrying stolen weapons. Hey, why is this guy still here? What the hell are you two doing? One of them muttered, so did you find the boss's stuff or not? The shaved-head man snorted. Of course we did. The man with the perm looked at Lin Fan. Bold kid, walking alone through the streets. How are you even still alive? Lin Fan answered calmly. When I run into zombies, I try talking to them first. If that doesn't work, I defend myself. One swing and they disappear. The man with the perm blinked. Is he serious? What is this guy even talking about? The shaved-head man grew irritated. He pulled out a pistol and aimed it at Lin Fan. Do you know how valuable this is? Lin Fan did not move. So the 4 of you broke into the police station to steal weapons? The shaved-head man mocked him. Are you insane? It's the apocalypse. Of course we stole them. We've done things you couldn't even imagine. He never finished the sentence. A flash passed by, and his head separated from his body. In the same instant, Lin Fan offered a dry apology. Sorry, I'm used to cutting down zombies in self-defense. For a second, I forgot you were human. Everyone stood frozen in shock. The man with the bun reached for his gun, but before he could fire, Lin Fan split him in half with a single strike. The last 2 men froze in terror. He moved too fast to follow. Is he even human? Inside the car, the bald man shouted, Idiots! You're making too much noise. The zombies are coming. Get in now! And indeed, guttural roars echoed from every corner nearby. A wave of undead rushed toward the car like rabid animals. The bald man slammed the accelerator and sped away without looking back. You're dead, idiots. The boss will make sure of it. The 2 abandoned men screamed after him. You coward, we're still here. Come back here. Lin Fan sheathed his blade with a sigh. See? Even excited zombies can't tolerate injustice. They're simply doing their civic duty. The 2 men stared at him in horror, unable to speak. Civic-minded zombies. They only came because you killed people. Lin Fan crouched slightly, then leaped effortlessly onto the balcony above. With his current abilities, it felt almost casual. The men watched his figure disappear into the distance with mouths hanging open. No athlete on Earth could jump that high. Moments later, the zombie horde crashed into them like a living tidal tidal wave. Their screams lasted only seconds before being drowned out by the sound of flesh tearing apart. The chaos outside caught the attention of Sushil, the baking influencer. So many zombies. Don't tell me that guy wandering around led them here. What was he thinking? That's suicide. He's probably already dead. But before she could finish the thought, Linfan's face suddenly appeared outside her window. She collapsed to the floor, trembling. Wait, this is the second floor. How is he standing outside on the air conditioner unit? Linfan assumed she was simply traumatized by the apocalypse. She's terrified. I should give her time to adjust. I'll visit her window every day, he thought sincerely. I'll smile at her and act kindly. Eventually she'll understand I mean no harm. Meanwhile, Sushil had already grabbed a fruit knife. Oh no, he saw me. What do I do? I can't run. He'll tell the other survivors. I won't let them take me alive. If I can't fight him, I'll stab myself first. He won't get a warm body to play with. At the same time, inside a luxurious mansion on Shuri Hill, the bald gangster burst through the door. Panic covered his face. Boss, we've got a problem. A scar-faced man puffed on a cigar and frowned. Problem, 5 of you left, and only you came back. The bald man exaggerated his story. Boss, when we got to the police station, another group was hiding in the shadows. The second we found the weapons, they lured zombies straight at us. The bald man stammered nervously. I told the guys to get in the car, but there were too many zombies. The street was blocked. I had no choice except to drive away. Inside, he was panicking. I can't let the boss know it was only one man. I abandoned them and ran. The moment I saw that horde, he nervously glanced at the boss. Why isn't he saying anything? Damn it, he's going to hit me. This man can crush bricks with his bare hands. Hell, he once shattered a rock with a slap. Wang Dafu finally looked up and pressed the lit cigar against the bald man's forehead. Why didn't you die out there? The bald man trembled, biting his tongue to stop himself from screaming. He knew that if he made a sound, the boss's temper would destroy him. When the cigar finally went out, he forced a miserable smile. Boss, I just wanted to keep driving for you. That's all. Wang Dafu snorted irritably, though not enough to kill him. He tossed the cigar aside. Get lost. Leaning back, Wang Dafu's eyes turned cold. He had planned to seize the entire villa complex as his personal base, expanding little by little, but now it seemed another group in Huangshu had the same ambition and enough nerve to raid a police station for weapons. Looks like I'll have to strike first, he muttered. The next morning, sunlight spread across Sunshine Community. Old Mrs. Shugfen knelt in the garden planting the seeds Lin Fan had brought back. Meanwhile, Mr. Zhuanju and Mr. Wanzungu reinforced the gates and exits with wooden boards to keep zombies out. Nearby, Grandma Liang patiently tutored little Fifi in math, physics, and chemistry like a private teacher. Fifi had just finished her homework when even more textbooks appeared on the table. Lian's fan smiled proudly. I knew it. You're a hardworking kid. I picked these up for you last night. But Fifi's eyes immediately filled with tears. Before she could speak, the baby in Lian's fan's arms suddenly began crying loudly. Lian's fan became alarmed. Where did you find this child? Lian's fan hesitated. Grandma Su used to be an army doctor. We should let her examine the baby. Hearing the crying, Grandma Su hurried in from the yard. Quick, bring her here. After checking the infant, she sighed in relief. Good thing you found her in time. A few more minutes and she wouldn't have survived, but she's still not out of danger. Her body is weak, the rash is infected, and she has several small injuries. She'll need careful treatment. Lian's fan, what's her name? The mother's diary had mentioned only one thing. The baby's name is Men Hambin. Then let her carry your surname. Lin Men Hambin, Grandma Liang suggested. Lin Fen shook his head. Not just that. When Men Rabin grows up, I'll tell her everything about her mother. Lin Mai noticed Lin Fen struggling to hold the baby and stepped forward to help. Since I'm already caring for her, you've done more than enough. Lin Fen smiled gratefully. Then we'll split the work. You take care of her during the day, and I'll handle the nights. As soon as they settled the baby's situation, Grandma Zhu Aljan and Grandpa Wang shouted from the gate. Panic was clear in their voices. Linfen, come quickly. Something's wrong. The zombies are gathering in the street. Linfen frowned. Strange. I lost them a long time ago on the way back. Don't tell me the zombies have started evolving. Not long earlier, Linfen had seen a truck speeding through the streets. The driver kept honking non-stop, drawing every zombie nearby toward him. It looked like he was distracting the undead to give another survivor group time to collect supplies. Yeah, I saw it too. Hurry, now's our chance. Grab whatever you can. Brother Wang, something's off. Why did that truck circle back? Yeah, he's trying to trick us. When the apocalypse began, I was home with my wife and son. The chaos outside filled me with despair. As our food ran low, I comforted my wife and child. I told them to stay home and wait while I went out to find supplies so we could survive. But the moment I stepped outside, a mutant corpse came after me. Just when I thought I was dead, that truck appeared out of nowhere. Two people jumped out, one carrying a shield and the other a steel pipe. They rushed in as a team. In only a few seconds, they killed the monster. I wanted to follow them, but they showed no interest in me. But when I explained that my wife and child were still trapped at home and begged for food, they actually agreed to help. They told me to bring my family and come with them to a shelter. At that moment, I thought I'd finally found good people, but the real nightmare was only beginning. The moment they saw my family, they snapped, pinned me to the ground, and butchered my wife in front of me. She couldn't endure their abuse anymore and tried to resist, so they threw her out of the third-floor window of that unfinished hotel. I wanted to fight back, but they grabbed my 8-year-old daughter. Try anything and she's next. So I froze. I couldn't do anything. I'm not letting those monsters leave here alive. I'm going over there to check. Wait, Linfang, don't go. Are you some kind of zombie yourself? Why can't you stay away from Sunshine District? Don't bring trouble here. We have elderly people and children inside. It seems impossible to reason with the dead. Wang, do you really think what Linfan can do is humanly possible? I honestly suspect Linfan might be some kind of super soldier. His strength goes beyond imagination. Maybe when civilization rises again someday, it'll begin right here in Huang City, and Linfan may become one of the people who helps rebuild it. Grandma's show, how is he? He's fine, just a few scratches. The airbag protected him. That blood only came from his nose. It's nothing serious. That's a relief. Still, the streets outside are filthy. We'll need to clean them properly. This whole mess started because of him. Besides him, who else could clean up this disaster? What's going on? Something feels wrong. But I still can't find any reason to disagree with Linfan. Is this heaven? No, this is Sunshine District, our home. Now that you're awake, once you can move, go clean the infected corpses outside before the smell becomes unbearable. My name is Shen. I used to work as a network repair technician. Thank you very much for saving me. But now I need to save my daughter. She's still in that man's hands. So you caused all this trouble and now want to run away. You're cleaning up this mess first. Tell me the address and I'll rescue your daughter for you. Don't worry, my prices are very reasonable. Oh, the delivery guy. My dad really sent you to pick me up? Of course. Your father already paid me in advance for the job. It's him again. That man showed up once more. There's a little girl with him. She looks around 8 or 9. What? Is that his daughter? Oh no, he's looking this way with that creepy smile. That monster couldn't catch me, so now he kidnapped a little girl. Just imagining what might happen to her makes me sick. This cursed apocalypse. Does it really give people permission to do whatever they want? That survivor in the cake shop reacted really strangely. Maybe the apocalypse drove her insane and she lost her mind. Forget it. Don't worry, Ting. People with mental problems like that are dangerous. They could hurt someone easily. What the heck? What is it, sis? Look at the intersection over there. Isn't that the lunatic we met before? How does he still have the nerve to walk around so confidently, especially with a little girl beside him? This is unbelievable. That doll is actually really cute. I'm going to buy one for Mang Ting Ting. Do you want one too? Yeah, I do. Hey, there are a lot of zombies chasing our car. If they spot him and that little girl, they're definitely dead. Hurry and honk the horn so the undead move away from them. You managed to do that? Darn it, sis. It looks like she already attracted all the zombies before we even got here. We're done for. At the desert base, a researcher spoke up. Professor, we finished analyzing the crystal taken from the zombie's brain. The material inside doesn't match anything we know. How stable is the energy? Very stable. The protective layer around the crystal has a strange structure. It resembles human skin, but it's far tougher. As a survivor base, we have top-grade equipment, but even with our best technology, we still can't determine the crystal's purpose. We already informed Dragon Palace Base and Galaxy Base about the crystal, right? Did they discover anything? Dragon Palace and Galaxy also hunted zombies, but they didn't find any crystals in ordinary ones. So they concluded that only special zombies carry crystals. That proves something else. The zombies truly are evolving. This is terrible news for the living. If we can't find a way to deal with them, humanity, I can't even imagine what will happen. At the top of a residential building in Wang City, a man shouted excitedly, I found it! I finally found it! Just like in the novels, zombies really do have crystals inside their heads. It wasn't easy. To get this crystal core, I even betrayed my companions. If I absorb this crystal, I might become stronger too. Then I'll keep killing zombies and growing more powerful. Eventually, I'll rule this apocalypse. When I stand above everyone else, what won't I be able to achieve? If heaven refused to let me rise as Janhu, then the apocalypse will become my endless night and the start of my ascent. Come on, Janhu, I'm ready. Let this power remake my body and grant me unmatched strength. I'll become the king of the apocalypse, a king who changes women every day of the year. A moment later, his expression twisted in shock. How is this possible? This crystal is useless. This isn't how it works in the novels. My stomach hurts so much. It's starting. It has to be working. It hurts too much. The pain is unbearable. I'm going to die from this, but if I endure it, the future will belong to me. No, this can't be happening. No, I'm not ready. Inside Sunshine Community, voices echoed in panic. Dad, brother, why are you covered in blood? Are you hurt? I'm fine. It's just zombie blood. Little Fan really is an incredible runner. Little Shen, hurry and give him the money. Thank you. What are you thanking me for? You paid, so I did the job. That's how work works. Even in the apocalypse, I can't just take money for nothing. The old man gave me those 100 yuan in advance. I thought everyone was joking with me, but I can't believe it. He actually accepted the payment. Wang Zhongju, don't you think this is strange? Strange? What's strange about it? People pay for goods. They also pay for services. Even during the apocalypse. That's how Sunshine Community operates. Don't overlook that. Think carefully. Transactions like these are signs of order, and order is where the future begins. Honestly, when everything first started, we thought exactly like you. We also believed Little Fan was strange, but now things are different. We realized his thinking operates on a much higher level. Those who understand will understand. Those who don't never will. I have no idea what you two old men are talking about. but it sounds important. It's coming from the clock tower. It's noon. Someone must have repaired the giant clock. The zombies will definitely gather there. That'll give survivors time to search for supplies. I wonder who did it. It must have been a good person. That's wonderful. It proves there's still a little hope left, even in this disaster. Boss, your plan is brilliant. From now on, noon will be the perfect time to scavenge. This method won't work forever. That's fine. Let's move quickly. We only have 2 minutes to gather supplies. Take everything you can. Boss, something's wrong. We're in trouble. Darn it, just as I thought. Some of these zombies have developed intelligence, almost like humanity and civilization. Do we really have no hope left? What's happening? It's not even noon yet. Why did it stop? Something went wrong. The little hope we just gained disappeared instantly. No, there's still hope, and this time it's real hope. Little fan, the apocalypse has arrived, and danger is everywhere, but hope always exists. It just needs someone to find it, someone to guide it and make it shine a little brighter so others can see even a fragment of it. As the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. None of us can afford to think only about ourselves while ignoring everyone else. If we refuse our responsibilities, human society itself will eventually disappear. One person's strength alone is limited. No one can accomplish everything by themselves. That's why a leader must appear, someone who can unite everyone's determination and combine it into something stronger. Wang Zhongju, I seriously have no clue what you're talking about. How could I forget Little Fan's logic? Talking like this to him is pointless. I need to explain it in a way he understands. Little Fan, how about this? I know there's a real estate office nearby, and you like earning money, right? Why not take a part-time job? You could hand out flyers and ask survivors if they want to move into our community. If you bring people in, you'll not only help them but also earn a nice commission. A part-time job that pays money? Great, old Wang. I'll go do it right now. Old man, is it really okay to trick that kid like this? What kind of path are you leading him toward? In all my years in the military, I've never seen anyone as strong as Little Fan. He's so powerful that he barely seems human. Maybe Little Fan is humanity's final hope. It's freezing. Brother, get in the car. Don't you want to stay with us? Thanks, but there's no need. I'm working and I already have a place to live. Let's just leave him alone. The engine noise attracted a group of zombies. If we leave him there, it doesn't matter. It's the apocalypse. We can only help within our limits. He's the one who refused our help. Besides, after talking to him earlier, I got the feeling something might be wrong with that kid. It's true. The zombies seem faster than before. They used to run 100 meters in 10 seconds. Now they can probably do it in 9. Annoying. I'll have to return to the boring job of killing zombies for points. Finally found all of you. These zombies are much harder to handle now. They keep evolving non-stop. But luckily for me, I have a support system, so I'm getting stronger too. I remember this. It's a distress signal. Hangda Elite Residence, Building 4, Apartment 17G5. My name is Yanini, and I'm a dance streamer. I'm only 19 years old. I specialize in folk dance, classical dance, and modern dance. No matter how many people danced, none were as famous as her. When the apocalypse began, she was terrified. She locked herself inside her apartment, too afraid to go anywhere. Luckily, she had food stored at home, and since she barely ate, she managed to survive until now. On the 3rd day after the outbreak, she heard soft knocking at the door along with someone calling her name. The voice belonged to her manager, Lei Wang. But just as she was about to open the door, she checked through the peephole and saw Lil Hong's younger brother standing there too. Lil Hong lived downstairs with his brother. He was useless, unemployed, addicted to gambling, and whenever he looked at her, his eyes felt disturbing. She knew that now that the world had collapsed, if Bing tried anything against her, her manager would never stop him. He might even help his own brother instead. Since then, she refused to open the door for her manager. No matter what excuses or promises he made, she stayed inside. She only wanted to avoid something terrible happening to her. But now she had run out of food. Am I really going to starve to death like this? At Rhonda Elite Residence on the 19th floor, the younger brother complained, "Sis, that woman still won't open the door. She's ridiculously beautiful. Her legs, waist, body, just thinking about it drives me crazy. That security door is way too strong. We couldn't force it open. This is your fault. I warned you not to act so suspicious from the start. I thought since it was the apocalypse, stuff like that wouldn't matter anymore." Quiet, his sister snapped. I think I heard something outside. Zombies? I'm not sure. Maybe not. Let's check first. Is someone there? Stop bothering me. Don't come back again. That lunatic Lu Suing must be outside my door again. I'm seriously about to lose my mind. I feel like grabbing a knife from the kitchen and ending this once and for all. But that creep won't even let me leave. He'll still try to take advantage of me if he gets the chance. It's unbearable. Seriously unbearable. Why did this have to happen to me? Outside, Lin Fan thought to himself. The person in there could already be in danger. I can't just stand here waiting anymore. After breaking down the door, he found Yanini inside and immediately told her to stay calm and not panic. Not panic? How am I supposed to stay calm? It's the apocalypse. A stranger smashes into my apartment and you expect me to relax? Oh wait, aren't you the dance streamer Yanini? I used to donate money during your live streams. Before that, I always watched for free without sending anything. But your dancing really was beautiful. Don't come any closer. If you take one more step, I'll kill myself right here. I won't let you touch me. Back in school, my best friend and I watched a Japanese movie in our dorm. A woman in it was captured and tortured every day. They treated her like a toy until she became obedient like a dog. I used to think movies were fake and things like that couldn't happen, but now I know people are capable of horrible things. No matter what happens, I'll never become like that. I don't mean you any harm. My name is Alan Fun. I work at a real estate rental agency. I was passing by and saw the emergency signal written on your window, so I came to check. Sorry about the door. I knocked first, but nobody answered, so I thought something might have happened inside. I didn't have any choice but to force my way in. She was still stunned, but more importantly, can someone really smash a security door open with one punch? Lin Fan raised his hand slightly. I really did just come to check on you and promote some housing options. Your living conditions don't seem very good. Have you considered moving somewhere else? If you're interested, I recommend Sunshine Community. It's old, but under my management it's quiet, clean, and very safe. The residents come from all kinds of professions. Doctors, teachers, decorated veterans, retired military factory workers, elderly women, and even a network technician. There's a complete outdoor gym downstairs, and farmland we developed ourselves. And most importantly, it's affordable. After hearing all that, Yanini's fear slowly turned into disbelief. Lin Fan noticed her expression changing and assumed she was finally lowering her guard. He stepped closer. I know you're scared. A beautiful girl like you must have gone through a lot during this disaster. There's still kindness left in the world. We should keep moving toward the light. Come on, put the knife down. Take a look at the flyer. Maybe it'll help you decide. Yanini stared at the brochure in her hand. The whole situation felt absurd. She couldn't help asking, who exactly are you? Lumfen smiled. Didn't I already say? My name is Lumfen, a real estate agent from Sinfeng Agency. I specialize in rental properties. If you're unhappy with your current place, you can move to Sunshine Community. Why don't we sit down so I can explain everything properly? Lumfen kept enthusiastically pitching the apartments. Look at this floor plan. Building 1, room 504. 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, around 60 square meters. The rent is about $1,500 a month. It has an elevator and easy access. But since you're a streamer and probably own lots of clothes, I'd recommend building 2 instead. Apartment 2 is larger and definitely fits you better. The previous tenant was also a young woman. Her lease ended only a few days ago. Yanini finally blurted out, are you seriously mentally ill or something? Linfen immediately looked offended. I'm kindly recommending apartments and you insult me? If you don't want a place, just say so. I'll leave. Seeing him get up to leave, Yanini quickly grabbed him and apologized. Wait, sorry, that's not what I meant. I apologize. Limfen sighed. You need the right mindset if you want to make money. Fine, I accept your apology. But Yanini still asked, are you always like this? I mean, kind of not normal? Seeing his expression darken, she hurried to explain herself. No, that's not what I meant. Before she could finish, Limfen interrupted her. Abnormal? Aren't all of you the strange ones? Everyone thinks the apocalypse means rules no longer matter. But that mindset is exactly what's destroying the world. In the apocalypse, zombies aren't the scariest thing. People are. I'm simply continuing to live by the old rules because I'm strong enough to do it. Yanini stared at him once again. He was strange, but what he said actually made sense. Was he pretending to be clueless to lower people's guard? Either way, this place would eventually be destroyed. Staying here meant dying. She needed to leave. Limfen smiled. So you want to rent a place? Yanini nodded quickly. Yes, I'll take the apartment you mentioned. Limfen continued. Then pack your belongings. Yanini blinked in confusion. Limfen explained. You're moving, right? Bring your important things. Bank cards, cash, whatever you have. The rent is $10,000 a month. Yanini stared at him in disbelief. Seriously? I just want to escape this place. What use is money now? I honestly can't tell if he's acting or if he's really like this, she thought. 10 minutes later, Lin Fawn looked at her in confusion. You're done packing already? That's all? Yanini nodded and warned him that dangerous survivors lived downstairs. She worried they might not make it out safely. Lin Fawn calmly led her down the stairs. Don't worry, I can handle myself. Yanini thought back to how he had punched through a reinforced door like it was paper. But when they reached the next floor, Lil Hong's door suddenly swung open. He stood there holding a kitchen knife. Yanini, where do you think you're going? You'd better leave that woman here and get lost, or you'll regret it. Lil Hong showed no fear at all. Instead, a faint smile appeared on his face. Sorry, I usually don't smile unless I truly can't help it. But tell me, how exactly are you planning to make me regret it? The next second, Lil Hong moved with unbelievable speed and snatched the knife away. Lil Hong froze in shock. Everything in front of him felt unreal. He had only grabbed the knife to scare the man into leaving the woman behind. Who could have imagined it would be taken away in an instant? That wasn't normal at all. But instead of attacking him, Lil Hong calmly explained that knives were dangerous and threatening someone, even without hurting them, still violated public safety laws. His serious, righteous tone only confused Lil Hong more. When Lil Hong handed the knife back, Lil Hong instinctively took it. Lil Hong warned him, hold that properly and stop doing stupid things. And if you really attack me, I'll defend myself, and that won't end well for you. Lil Hong stared blankly at the knife. What was happening anymore? He couldn't understand a thing. Yanini originally wanted to stop Lim Fawn from returning the knife, but it was already too late. She remembered how, ever since becoming an influencer, she had treated Lin Hong like family, giving him money and opportunities. things. Yet after the apocalypse, she had become nothing more than a target. While he helped his brother try to ruin her life, Lil Hong turned to her and said, "Let's go." But Lil Hong glared at Yanini with greedy eyes and shouted for them to stop. Lil Hong glanced sideways and asked coldly, "Something else?" Lil Hong stepped forward holding the kitchen knife. He had wanted that girl for a long time and couldn't accept letting her leave. Gathering his courage, he shouted at Lim Fan, "You're taking her because you want her body, right?" Lil Hong looked offended by the accusation. "Watch your mouth, Lil Hong." Lil Hong then stared at Yanini with a disgusting grin. "You should think carefully. If you stay here, it's only me. But if you go with him, who knows how many men you'll meet? Maybe a few, maybe dozens. Fat ones, ugly ones, short ones. They'll take turns until you'd rather die. Can you imagine it? This is the apocalypse. No laws, no morals. Nobody cares about you. Staying here is your best choice, because then you'd only have to deal with me." Those filthy words kept echoing through Yanini's mind. Lil Hong stopped dreaming. "I'd rather die than stay here." After being rejected, Lil Hong's face twisted with madness. He blamed Lil Hong for everything, convinced Yanini would never have dared resist otherwise. He told himself the knife had only been taken because he let his guard down. No normal person could move that fast. The more he convinced himself, the crazier he looked. Then he swung the kitchen knife at Lil Hong with all his strength. Yanini's face turned pale. She screamed for Lil Hong to be careful. Lil Hong's sister assumed Yanini was already terrified. Afterward, she only needed to help her brother restrain the man. But unexpectedly, Lil Hong suddenly flew backward as though struck by something massive. He slammed into the wall hard enough to crack it like a spiderweb. Lil Hong slowly lowered his right leg and calmly explained, "It was his fault. I only defended myself." Yanini stared at him in shock. This man was unbelievably strong. Lil Hong had been defeated in an instant. After that, Lil Hong no longer dared cause trouble and rushed to check whether his brother was still breathing. As they descended several more floors, Yanini noticed zombie corpses torn apart everywhere. "Did you kill all these?" Lil Hong explained that the zombies had attacked him when he arrived. He had no choice but to defend himself. Yanini became even more curious about his real profession. Lil Hong sighed helplessly. "Haven't I already told you? I'm a real estate agent from Xinfeng Agency." Of course, neither she nor Yanini believed him. The whole thing felt like some cliché action drama. An ordinary worker on the outside, a monster underneath. Once they reached the street, Yanini kept questioning him. "Do you always walk around outside like this?" Lil Hong answered, "Yeah, the apocalypse makes everything inconvenient. I still need money to survive. Don't let the realtor thing fool you. I also work security. I help keep the neighborhood in order. And the old man pays me for it too." Yanini picked up another clue. "So you're security too. Do you also do deliveries or stuff like that?" Lil Hong shook his head. "No, but sometimes I help survivors with odd jobs for extra income." Yanini became secretly excited. Realtor, security guard, handyman, the perfect hidden identity for some overpowered hero. I really found myself a powerful protector. Thinking about it, she accidentally laughed out loud. Lil Hong looked at her strangely. What a shame. Such a nice girl, yet somehow completely foolish. It was the first time Lil Hong had ever brought a beautiful influencer home. Naturally, Wang Zhongju misunderstood the situation and assumed Lil Hong had brought a woman back for romance. He even kindly reminded him to enjoy life while he was still young. "Don't wait until you're old, or you'll regret it. We should all enjoy ourselves while we can." "Grandpa, I'm still in good shape, but you're practically falling apart already. Inappropriate maybe, but I still have my retirement card." Lil Hong shivered at the bizarre conversation. "Grandpa, what kind of nonsense are you talking about?" At that moment, Lil Hong arrived carrying dishes and called everyone to eat. Lil Hong introduced Yanini. "This is my sister Lil Hong. She's an incredible cook. And this is her daughter Fifi." Fifi looked at Yanini and said, "Uncle Lin will definitely like you." Yanini did not explain anything. She simply patted Fifi on the head and told her she was adorable. After that, Lin Fan introduced Chun and his daughter Ting Ting. Brother Chun is an elite network technician. The four elders were Zung Gang, Zouai Jin, and the grandmothers Shugi Fen and Lianin. All of them were remarkably capable people. Once the introductions ended, Lin Fan guided Yanini to the table. Yanini had not eaten homemade food this delicious in a very long time. "Miss Lin, your cooking is incredible." Limai laughed. "If you like it, eat more. Food is hard to come by these days, but compared to most people, this is already a luxury." Yanini could hardly believe such warmth and comfort still existed during the apocalypse. She felt she had truly made the right choice. Maybe fate had guided her to Lin Fan for a reason. Then Elder Angs asked her, "How did you manage your water supply where you lived?" "Don't misunderstand me. I'm a retired military officer. In harsh conditions, water is everything. I'm only curious." Yanini answered honestly. "Grandpa, the tap water is drinkable. I was afraid at first too. I thought zombies might have contaminated the treatment plant, but one day I got so thirsty I drank it anyway, and nothing happened." Everyone was both shocked and excited. "We never dared use tap water. We've always depended on Brother Lin to bring purified water. If the water station is still functioning and the contamination doesn't spread through water, that's amazing news for all survivors." But Elder Wang thought further ahead. "As far as I know, the station pulls water from the river. It has to go through several treatment processes. Otherwise, the water reaching homes would be filthy. But the tap water is completely clear now. I suspect there's still a survivor at the station maintaining the treatment system, which is why the water remains safe." Zhou Jin agreed. "If someone is really keeping the water clean, they shouldn't be left there alone to die. If their food runs out someday, they'll be finished." Lin Fan kept eating cheerfully. "I'll go check later. I know where the water station is. As a newcomer, Yanini still did not understand the situation fully. But wouldn't that be dangerous for you? Lin Fan continued eating as he answered, there's no such thing as danger, and even if there is, I still need to go. I don't understand how that facility works, but water is too important for all of us. If someone is risking their life to maintain the supply during times like this, they shouldn't have to suffer forever. At the very least, they deserve a decent bowl of hot rice. After finishing his meal, Lin Fan stood up. Alright, I'm heading to the water station. If anyone wants me to bring something back, let me know. Same rules as always. The service fee is 100. The moment they heard that, everyone hurried over and surrounded him, each requesting different supplies. Yanini looked at Elder Hang in confusion. Is Lin Fan some kind of super soldier? Elder Hang gave no answer, thinking it was something she needed to realize on her own. The scene shifted to Huang City's water treatment plant. Inside the control room, a bald man sighed repeatedly. He was the station manager, Hang Kai. His mental state had nearly collapsed. Eating, drinking, and even using the bathroom all had to be done inside the room, making the environment unbearable. Buddy, I think I'm reaching my limit. My mind keeps getting worse. Look at that closed door. I keep imagining it glowing, like light is shining from outside. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't keep enduring this. I really want to crawl through the raw water pipe, leave this place, and get far away from the city. There probably aren't any zombies out there, but if I leave, the survivors in the city will lose their only water source. What do you think? Should I keep holding on? The little dog barked twice, giving him a firm answer. Henkai tied a cell phone to the farm dog's body. He needed the dog to lure away nearby zombies. He also had to inspect the station equipment regularly. If the facility stopped operating, the city would lose its water supply, and the survivors would fall into despair. Even the dog was working so hard to help humanity. As a human, he could not give up so easily. Meanwhile, the dog ran through the station's narrow corridors. At first, it moved quickly and smoothly, but suddenly, one zombie gained an enormous burst of speed. Every step it took created gusts of wind. The zombie cornered the dog in a dead end. At that critical moment, Lin Fan happened to ride by on his bicycle and noticed the unusually strange zombie. Whether it was a human or a zombie, he greeted it out of habit. The zombie immediately switched targets after seeing Lin Fan, completely ignoring the dog. The animal was too small to even satisfy it. It charged toward Lin Fan at full speed. Lin Fan prepared to draw his sword. In the next instant, a brilliant slash flashed through the air. A fierce gust followed the strike as the zombie was cut apart. Upper body, head, lower body. Everything split cleanly apart. Even the crystal inside its body shattered from the attack. Lin Fan flicked his weapon, shaking off the black sludge. I told you attacking people recklessly is dangerous, didn't I? The rescue dog trotted over to Lin Fan, knelt down and wagged its tail adorably. Lin Fan rubbed its head. What a cute little guy. Can you take me to the survivor here? The dog seemed to understand and happily led the way. Any zombie that appeared along the path was effortlessly eliminated by Lin Fan. The more Lin Fan watched the dog, the more he liked it. What a smart little guy. Soon the dog led him to the hiding place it shared with its owner. The room was empty. Its owner had clearly encountered danger and never returned. Seeing the dog's anxiety, Lin Fan patted its head again and told it to keep leading the way. Meanwhile, inside the filtration room, Henkai sat slumped in a corner. What a disaster. I didn't even finish inspecting the equipment before the zombies found me. I wonder how my buddy is doing now. There are still zombies outside. If I go out now, it'll be dangerous. If I don't get back to my room, the dog won't have anyone to open the door for him. When he returns, he'll definitely die outside. Just as despair consumed him, he suddenly heard the dog barking outside. Henkai opened his mouth and breathed rapidly. At first, he thought his hallucinations had worsened, but then he heard a human voice. He could not believe anyone could actually be outside and kept repeating to himself that he absolutely must not open the door. But after Lin Fan called several times without receiving a response, he simply smashed open the iron door. Hello, my name is Lin Fan. I'm a security guard, rental agent, and courier from Sunshine Community. I'm a good person. I'm not here with bad intentions. I'm just searching for survivors. The moment Henkai saw another human being, tears filled his eyes, yet he still believed it had to be a hallucination. How could anyone possibly come here? And even if someone did, how could they be a security guard? This had to be a hallucination. He thought the zombies had broken in while he was still trapped in his delusion. But Lin Fan placed a firm, real hand on his shoulder. Don't be afraid. I came to get you out of here. You're safe now. Those simple words struck Henkai harder than anything else. He collapsed into Lin Fan's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Finally, someone finally came to save me. I thought everyone had forgotten me. Lin Fan smiled. People who carry firewood for others shouldn't be left to freeze. You're this city's hero. Sorry it took so long. After rescuing Henkai from the water plant, Lin Fan brought him back to the Sunshine Community and handed him a steaming bowl of white rice. Little Tinting stared at the way he devoured the food. Sister Feifei, has this uncle never eaten before? Feifei replied, Tinting, I think this uncle must be the reincarnation of white rice. That's why he loves it so much. Lin Fan looked puzzled when Tinting called Feifei sister. Tinting, you're older than her. Why are you calling her sister? Feifei answered proudly, because she's completely under my control now. Calling me sister is the least she can do. Meanwhile, the dog crouched beside Henkai looked utterly confused. Why does my human look so hungry? We already ate this morning. It didn't take long for Henkai to finish the entire bowl. Sorry, I was starving. I ended up eating too much. Lemai shook her head with a smile. It's fine. Being able to eat well is a blessing. You arrived so suddenly that I didn't have time to cook anything else. Don't worry about it. Grandpa Wang patted patted Hankai on the shoulder. Young man, you did an incredible job keeping the water plant running. We had clean water because of you. Hankai felt embarrassed. You're giving me too much credit. I'm just an employee at the station. I was stuck there with nothing else to do, so I did what I could. Grandpa Wang replied. That basic job you mentioned was still your responsibility being fulfilled. Every survivor in Wang City is alive because water means survival. Without it, very few people would have made it. At that moment, Lin Fan walked over and asked, do you want to move into the Sunshine community? I work part-time as a rental agent for Xinfeng Agency. If you want to stay here, I can help you find a place. The phrase find a place caught Hankai off guard, as if it carried some hidden meaning. Grandpa Wang quickly explained, what little Fan means is that if you want to live here, he'll arrange a room for you. The rent isn't expensive, around 16 or 1700 a month. Even during the apocalypse, our community still follows the old rules. Hankai widened his eyes and nodded, half understanding and half confused. Lin Fan tried to clarify, you'll get used to it. Grandpa Wang probably understands Lin Fan better than anyone here. He just worries that Lin Fan speaks too directly and confuses people. Grandpa Wang continued, young man, you look ordinary like any other kid. You can be shy when you need to be, but when something matters, you still step forward. I like that, Hankai thought silently. Was that supposed to be a compliment? As he spoke, Wang Zhongju suddenly remembered an old comrade. Back in the war, there was a guy who always acted timid. He even spoke softly, almost delicately, but when it mattered, he grabbed explosives and charged straight at a tank. I never expected that from him. Later, I realized people are made of fear, courage, and all kinds of flaws. Only when those things come together does a person become whole. And in critical moments, the courage they unleash can be unbelievable. Only then did Hankai understand. So this grandfather was basically the community's life mentor. Lin Fan leaned forward and said, I found a place for you. Room 504 on the 5th floor. The rent is a pretty good deal. Hankai instinctively asked, do I pay cash or card? Lin Fan's eyes lit up. Either one works. Hankai fell silent again. His saviors clearly were not completely normal, but he was still willing to go along with it. The problem was that money barely mattered during the apocalypse. Seeing his hesitation, Grandpa Wang stepped in immediately. Young people who can't find wives waste all their money anyway. Put little Fan's rent charge on my card. He can pay me back once he gets his salary. The water station still pays you, right? Hankai had no idea what Wang Zhongju was talking about. Salary during the apocalypse? Who still got paid? Then he remembered that after Lin Fan visited the station, many nearby zombies had already been cleared out. Brother Fan, do you have some way to deal with zombies? Lin Fan answered honestly, yeah, I'm strong. They already know that. All three of Lin Fan's physical attributes had already surpassed human limits. Hankai originally thought Lin Fan used some kind of advanced weapon. Only after Grandpa Wang and the elderly ladies reacted so casually did he finally understand the situation. Then he asked, Brother Fan, someone has to inspect the water station every day. Otherwise problems start happening. The water could turn cloudy or contaminated. I definitely can't manage everything alone. So if you're really that good at fighting zombies, could you come with me to the station every day at noon? Lin Fan thought it would be something difficult, but answered casually, no problem. If there's nothing else, I'm heading back to my room. You all keep talk. He stretched and walked away. Hankai quietly asked Grandpa Wang, can you tell me what kind of person Brother Fan really is? He seems like Superman. Grandpa Wang smiled. In every dangerous era, heroes appear. He's a hero, and so are you. As for what he truly is, that doesn't matter. Heroes aren't judged by where they came from. What matters is that the Sunshine community is our shelter and the beginning of our hope. Let's work together to make this place better and spread that hope further. That's not only our wish, it's little Fan's wish too. The scene shifted to the desert base. Several researchers were organizing data sent from the Dragon Palace base and Galaxy base. They had hunted a mutated zombie and extracted several crystals from its head, but none appeared to have any use. One soldier volunteered to swallow a crystal for testing, but the results were disastrous. The researcher played the recording. This is the internal reaction after swallowing a crystal. When the crystal merges with human tissue, the subject's body begins to change. The blood starts boiling violently, and 3 minutes later, the subject dies from massive blood loss. This proves the theory of gaining power by swallowing crystals is incorrect. The current human body simply cannot endure the crystal's effects. I combined the zombie data from Dragon Palace base and Galaxy base. Professors, please look at the screen. This zombie has been classified as a strength-type zombie with extremely high explosive power. According to tests conducted by the Galaxy base, a strength-type zombie can easily flip a 2-ton vehicle. Its muscle density is abnormally high. Regular bullets only damage the surface tissue and barely cause meaningful harm. This one is a speed-type zombie. It specializes in rapid climbing. Its limbs are thick yet flexible, allowing speeds of up to 150 kilometers per hour, faster than a cheetah. Worse still, its top speed does not decrease from exhaustion. Once it targets a human, survival odds are nearly zero. This is a screamer-type zombie capable of producing a 120 decibel shriek that causes pain, dizziness, nausea, and other symptoms. It also attracts far more zombies than expected. When it was first discovered a few days ago, it could only reach 100 decibels, but it increased by 20 in just days. At this rate, reaching 160 decibels is not far away, and that level can rupture human eardrums. This type is even more dangerous than the previous two. An elderly professor exclaimed in horror, "If things continue like this and we still have no way to stop these zombies, do humans even have hope left?" How much longer can the remaining survivors endure? He had served 9 years in the military as a third-class sergeant, but only days after returning home on leave, the zombie apocalypse began. The group currently consisted of 4 women and 2 men, and one of the couples was expecting a child soon. The man asked Go-hang about the conditions outside. Go-hang lowered his head and explained that large numbers of zombies were wandering nearby, and the situation looked grim. How is my sister-in-law doing now? Is her stomach still hurting? The man answered that she felt much better, but it seemed the baby would arrive within days. I'm scared. Go-hang immediately patted his shoulder to comfort him. Don't worry, I'm here. In truth, there was little else he could say during an apocalypse. Going to a hospital was impossible, but giving birth there was even more dangerous. If she screamed, the zombies would definitely hear her. He also feared severe bleeding during labor. Go-hang wanted to go out and search for supplies. The man said, "Brother Go-hang, I'll come with you," but Go-hang quickly refused. "No need. Stay here and look after everyone. My physical condition is better than yours. If something happens, I can climb and escape." Afraid of becoming a burden, the man replied, "Okay, brother Go-hang, then please be careful." Go-hang nodded. "I will. If I run into zombies, I'll retreat immediately." But the man was not referring to zombies. "Brother Go-hang, haven't you heard? Among the survivors around here, everyone is talking about that legend. The man who crosses the apocalypse carrying a single sword. They say a lone figure with a blade always wanders through zombie-filled streets. People call him the eternal shadow of Huang City, the immortal ghost of the apocalypse." Go-hang thought it sounded ridiculous. What kind of nonsense title was that? Meanwhile, inside the Sunshine community, the old man noticed Lin Fan passing by and asked why he was so busy that day. Lin Fan replied, "I need to patrol the community, clean the stores, escort Hankai to the water station, and continue my part-time real estate work this afternoon." The old man nodded in approval. In the entire community, or maybe the entire apocalypse, no one was busier than Lin Fan. Perhaps he truly was humanity's last hope. At the same time, Grandma patiently taught the 2 children. Lin Bai carried the baby on her back and went to help Grandma Sui with the crops. Yanini had just found Lin Fan and greeted him. "Brother Fan?" Lin Fan replied, "Miss Yan." Yanini told him not to be so formal. "You can call me In or Yanini. That's what my friends call me." Lin Fan answered, "Really? All right, Miss Yan." Yanini then asked, "Brother Fan, Grandpa Wang keeps saying the city will return to its former liveliness. Do you really believe that?" Lin Fan answered with another question, "Do you believe it?" Yanini looked at him. "If I hadn't met all of you, I wouldn't. But now I do." Lin Fan responded calmly, "You already know the answer and already have faith. As long as you keep believing, you'll succeed." Yanini still did not fully understand. "Brother Fan, why do you still keep working and making money outside during the apocalypse? Most people just hurt others and take whatever they want." Lin Fan stepped forward. "I'm afraid that when the light finally returns, I won't be able to become who I used to be again." Yanini was stunned. Could Brother Fan really be thinking that far ahead? Suddenly she believed everything the old man had said. Maybe Brother Fan truly was humanity's hope. She hurried after him and asked with a smile, "Brother Fan, do you have a girlfriend?" Lin Fan answered immediately, "No." Blushing, she continued, "I don't have a boyfriend either. Have you never thought about dating?" Lin Fan answered directly, "No need." Those 3 words crushed Yanini's hopeful fantasy. "I got rejected." Unable to accept it, she chased after him and asked why. Lin Fan replied, "Because I'm still young." "All right, enough talking. I need to clear out the zombies nearby. As long as I keep working, I'll eventually clean every store here and expand into nearby areas. Long City will definitely become clean again." Yanini paused to think and decided she could not have been rejected. "I get it. Brother Fan wasn't rejecting me. He was just saying the apocalypse isn't over yet. How could anyone think about romance now? My perspective was too narrow. Brother Fan carries ambitions far greater than mine." That afternoon, Lin Fan walked through the streets as usual. The cake shop streamer Sushiel spotted him again. Who exactly is this guy? Why isn't he afraid of zombies? Does he know some trick to avoid them? Lin Fan also noticed the woman watching him. He still was not sure whether she had mentally recovered. Emotional wounds were difficult to heal with medicine. Most people had to recover on their own. Forget it. I should clean the zombies around the nearby shops first. When she saw Lin Fan draw his sword, she panicked. It's over. It's over. He finally lost control of his urges and plans to attack me. But after pulling out the sword, Lin Fan suddenly remembered something. Right, I almost forgot. I promised to smile at you every day. I hope my smile can warm your heart and help you recover. But to Sushiel, that smile looked disturbing and terrifying. There it is again. He's staring right at me with that twisted smile. He definitely has bad intentions. The scene shifted to Go-hang desperately searching for medicine for the pregnant woman, only to find every pharmacy empty. He realized zombie movies had made survival seem far easier than reality. Suddenly a horrifying groan made Go-hang freeze in place. He immediately went silent and listened carefully. He identified the sound as a zombie and understood that even with military experience, fighting one barehanded would be extremely dangerous. Without hesitation, he chose to retreat and protect himself instead of taking unnecessary risks. As the zombie slowly stepped out of the building, Rian sprinted away at full speed, knowing the creatures moved slower before locking onto prey, and that escaping early gave him the best chance to survive. The zombie behind him still looked confused, as if it had no idea what had just happened. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Lin Fan gathered supplies while casually cutting down zombies, muttering that they kept forcing him to defend himself. Suddenly, he noticed his sword felt sharper than usual, almost glowing faintly, making him wonder if his eyes were playing tricks on him. A series of roars suddenly echoed from outside. Curious, Lin Fan leaned out to check the commotion. He spotted Gohang trapped on top of a bus surrounded by swarms of mutant creatures. Gohang cursed his terrible luck internally. He had barely escaped the pharmacy, only to end up cornered again by zombies, convinced this might be his final day alive. At that moment, Lin Fan unexpectedly asked in a calm, innocent tone if he needed help. Hearing him, Gohang immediately sensed something unusual about Lin Fan, a disciplined military aura that could not be developed overnight. The more he observed him, the more certain he became that this man was unbelievably powerful. Unlike ordinary people, he might actually be capable of saving him. After thinking it through, Gohang gave up on begging and instead shouted for Lin Fan to leave while he searched for his own escape route. However, Lin Fan stayed where he was, smiling as he asked once again whether he needed assistance. That reaction instantly drew the zombies' attention, and every one of them turned toward Lin Fan. Gohang went pale, silently cursing Lin Fan for ignoring the warning. He believed they both could have escaped if they had run immediately, since the zombies were now focused on him. Lin Fan continued speaking to the horde as though they were ordinary people, criticizing their violent behavior while sincerely explaining that his sword was only for self-defense. Without warning, a small zombie lunged forward first. The sight left Gohang completely stunned, certain both of them were about to die there. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan swung his blade and instantly sliced the zombie apart. Right after that, he kicked the corpse so hard it slammed violently into a nearby wall. Gohang stared with his mouth hanging open, unable to close it, because even elite military experts could never send a zombie flying that far. That level of strength surpassed human limits. The remaining zombies rushed toward Lin Fan with savage speed in their eyes. Lin Fan coldly declared that when words stopped working, he would settle matters with the sword in his hand. Hearing that, Gohang became speechless again, unable to process the bizarre statement that followed such a brutal slaughter, like a butcher carving through the undead horde. Lin Fan sheathed his sword while quietly complaining that the streets had become filthy and feeling sorry for whoever would have to clean the mess later. Standing atop the bus, Gohang still struggled to believe what he had witnessed, doubting whether that kind of strength was even human. Suddenly he remembered the rumors. A lone man carrying a sword while calmly walking through empty streets, along with all the mysterious titles people had given Lin Fan, calling him a living legend of Huang City. Confused, Lin Fan jumped lightly onto the bus to face Gohang directly, even though he had not understood a word the man said earlier. Still smiling, Lin Fan raised his hand in greeting, introduced himself, and asked for the other man's name. Gohang remained frozen in shock. With a single effortless leap, Lin Fan had landed on top of the bus, making Gohang wonder if this man could still be considered human. Lin Fan also became puzzled, though for a different reason, wondering why the man kept staring silently and even suspecting he might be deaf. When Gohang finally introduced himself, Lin Fan sighed in relief after confirming he could hear properly, then introduced himself again and explained where he lived. Curious, Gohang asked how Lin Fan dealt with zombies so easily, saying he wanted to understand why killing them seemed effortless for him. Lin Fan raised his sword casually and explained that it was all thanks to the special weapon he considered a divine blade. After hearing that, Gohang chose not to press further and shifted the conversation toward rescuing survivors. He properly introduced himself and confirmed he was still an active soldier who had gotten trapped in trouble while visiting home. Privately, Gohang found Lin Fan's strange way of speaking rather unusual. It was probably just a personal quirk, even if it seemed odd. While still thinking about it, Lin Fan suddenly invited him to move into Sunshine District, surprising Gohang and making him realize there were probably many survivors living there. After considering it carefully, Gohang concluded that Lin Fan must have rescued many people already and showed no bad intentions, so he immediately agreed to go. He then asked for permission to return and bring the other survivors with him, and Lin Fan calmly approved the request. A short while later, Gohang returned with a pregnant woman and informed Lin Fan that they had arrived. Lin Fan asked about their relationship, and Gohang explained that Yang Hui was simply a survivor they had met during the apocalypse. Hearing that, Lin Fan hesitated before asking about her husband. Yang Hui answered coldly with a brief reply that shocked everyone. Lin Fan quietly pulled Gohang aside and asked for details in private. Gohang then explained everything that had happened while he was out searching for medicine. After Gohang left, Yang Hui encountered a well-prepared survivor group that initially appeared friendly and believed joining together would improve their odds of survival. However, once they learned Yang Hui was pregnant, the group completely changed their attitude, openly rejecting them and forcing everyone to leave. What Gohang could not accept most was that Yang Hui's husband abandoned her as well, showing no concern for his pregnant wife. When Gohang returned, Yang Hui had already been left behind alone. Gohang looked at Lin Fan anxiously and asked whether he considered pregnant women a burden. Lin Fan smiled naturally and replied that they were guests there, instantly relieving Gohang, who felt Yang Hui had finally found some luck despite the betrayal she suffered. Suddenly, Yang Hui clutched her stomach in pain, her face twisting in agony as labor began. Gohang immediately realized she was about to give birth, and at that moment Shugfen rushed outside, demanding they check on her immediately. Before Gohang could finish speaking, Shugfen insisted they bring Yang Hui inside, while Lin Fan reassured everyone by explaining that Shugfen was an experienced military doctor who knew how to handle the situation. After waiting for some time, everyone anxiously asked about about Yang Hui's condition. Shu Fen stepped out of the room and explained that dilation had already started. The baby would be born soon, but the situation was extremely dangerous. She ordered the men to leave and asked Mei and Yani to assist her, forcing them into a highly risky delivery attempt. The moment he heard that, Lin Fen became alert and drew his sword, understanding that childbirth under those conditions was incredibly dangerous and that any mistake could cost lives. Seeing Lin Fen preparing to leave, Mr. Wang could not help asking where he planned to go. Lin Fen smiled and answered that childbirth required screaming to gather strength, so he would guard the district gate to keep the area safe and allow her to give birth peacefully. Go Heng anxiously protested, saying it was too dangerous, but Lin Fen insisted they needed to create enough time and safe space for the child to be born. Lin Fen explained that in the apocalypse, hope was created by people, and sometimes that hope began with the youngest children. The unborn baby represented the hope everyone wanted to protect and pass on to the next generation. Calmly, he added that he only needed to keep the area secure and ventilated, and as the protector of Sunshine District, that responsibility belonged to him. His recent paycheck obligated him to fulfill that duty properly. At that moment, the little girl curiously asked Mr. Wang about the general Lin Fen had mentioned because she wanted to hear the story. Mr. Wang smiled and described a battle where General Dong led troops in a desperate defense of the front line, just to buy enough time for a female soldier to safely give birth. The battle claimed many lives, and some questioned why such sacrifice should be made for a single child, which infuriated the general and made him challenge their thinking. He declared that every sacrifice was made for children, because the future had to be protected, and only those who shared the nation's fate could truly understand that belief. Meanwhile, Lin Fen sat reading Stark and his 365 girlfriends, thinking the main character truly lived a chaotic life. At that moment, a vehicle drove past the area. The car suddenly reversed after spotting Lin Fen sitting there. The person inside lowered the window and thought he had found some lunatic sitting in the middle of the road. Goheng compared to the politic cord that the doer kinnet. His in the politic within. The man had not seen a single zombie anywhere on the street. That alone felt suspicious during the apocalypse. Meanwhile, Lin Fan was simply sitting there reading. The man asked, "What are you doing?" Lin Fan answered, "Reading." Several other people sat inside the car. After hearing his answer, they burst into laughter and mocked him like he was insane. One member of the group suggested taking over the house in front of where Lin Fan sat, but the leader decided it was too risky to leave the vehicle because zombies near the intersection could notice them. Besides, Lin Fan looked mentally unstable, which might create additional trouble. The three passengers in the back seat praised his judgment, saying he had exceptional instincts. Lin Fan then warned the group that a pregnant woman nearby was about to give birth and would probably scream loudly enough to attract zombies. The purple-haired girl inside the car grabbed her stomach and laughed. "This crazy guy is seriously making me laugh too hard." Lin Fan quietly repeated her words. "Crazy?" Lin Fan told her to show some respect. Clearly annoyed, she saw his expression and fired back. "I'm not scared of anything. Do you believe I could peel your skin off alive?" The blonde leader in the driver's seat pressed the gun against Lin Fan's face and asked, "Do you know what this is?" Lin Fan answered bluntly, "It's a gun." The leader smirked arrogantly and said, "In this apocalypse, I can do whatever I want," making it obvious he intended to kill him. He kept threatening Lin Fan, saying he could blow his head apart like a watermelon while shouting, "Do you believe I'll blow your brains out?" But Lin Fan calmly replied that according to national law, illegal firearm possession carried a prison sentence of 3 years. Given the current situation, he thought the man's punishment would be even harsher and advised him to repent. Lin Fan's response instantly left the blonde speechless because he became convinced the guy was completely insane. The three people in the back seat also fell silent in shock. The blonde turned around and asked what Lin Fan had just said. The man behind him repeated that owning a gun illegally was against the law. The blonde loudly argued back, "So my brother is breaking the law." Another added, "Our boss can carry whatever he wants and blow someone's head off if he feels like it, and nobody can call it illegal." Everyone inside the car burst into loud laughter. Lin Fan calmly closed his book. He quietly told them they were the real lunatics, people incapable of keeping a proper mindset during the apocalypse, joining together only to spread despair through cruelty. His words immediately enraged the leader. "Who do you think you are to lecture us? Kneel down now. If you apologize, I'll spare your life." Suddenly, the gun vanished from his hand. "What the?" Lin Fan moved with absurd speed and had already snatched the weapon from the blonde man's grip. Terrified, the driver slammed his foot on the accelerator. The vehicle shot forward at full speed. The people in the back panicked. "What's going on? Why are you driving so fast? We have bulletproof glass." But the blonde shouted, "Shut up," while focusing entirely on escaping, furious that he had been humiliated that day. Inside the building, the woman's agonizing screams echoed loudly, just as Lin Fan had predicted. The zombies began gathering nearby. The survivors upstairs watched nervously, wondering if Lin Fan could really hold them back. However, old Zhou Aljin trusted him completely and reassured everyone. As he spoke, the girls behind him also showed support and excitement. Even the youngest child believed in Lin Fan. He gently patted the two girls on the head, praising them as good children and promising to ask Uncle Lin to buy them exercise books once everything was over. The girls felt guilty but could not say anything. Down below, Lin Fan slaughtered zombies non-stop. As night fell, the loud cries of childbirth echoed above. The women hurried around the room and successfully helped deliver the baby. Lin Fan looked around and thought, It's starting. Suddenly he saw figures falling from the tall building across from him. They were zombies. Large numbers crashed onto the ground, scattering everywhere, yet soon started standing back up. Drawn by the sound of human voices and crying, they staggered toward the area Lin Fan defended. Lin Fan commented that those survivors clung on like leeches, surprisingly stubborn even after being mutilated. From the upper floors, everyone watched Lin Fan's situation anxiously. The man in front looked extremely worried, and even old Zhou Aljin could no longer hide his concern. Zhou Aljin sincerely admitted that in this apocalypse, he saw hope for rebuilding society and believed humanity's future rested in Lin Fan's hands. The young man beside him suggested everyone should help, but Zhou stopped him, explaining that interfering now would only place more pressure on Lin Fan. The young man sighed and admitted the old man was right. He realized that going downstairs now would only force Lin Fan to protect even more people. One eye pointed toward a figure standing on a nearby high-rise building. The zombie looked different from ordinary ones and behaved strangely. It was a screamer-type zombie. None of them had ever seen one before. Unlike normal zombies that rush directly at people, this one behaved in a disturbingly unusual way. The zombie immediately revealed its ability. It released a roar that blasted the air forward violently. The sound nearly deafened the group. Even the people inside the room were affected. Yanini rushed outside and warned everyone to wet cotton and cover their ears. One of the girls inside asked, "Yanini, where are you going?" At that moment, the screaming gradually weakened. The three men in the hallway asked one another if they were all right. Even Lin Fan had to endure the pain caused by the horrifying roar. He worried whether Yang Hui could withstand childbirth under those conditions. Lin Fan locked onto the screamer zombie, determined to kill it first. Suddenly, something caught his attention as he moved. The zombies he had already cut apart and left scattered across the street began moving again. All of them stood up simultaneously and rushed in the same direction, but looked as though every creature had sensed something at the same moment. The pink-haired girl in the building looked down in terror. It was the first time she had ever seen such an enormous zombie horde. Many survivors from other buildings leaned out their windows, horrified by the nightmare unfolding below. They heard zombies emerging from alleys all across the city. Seeing the overwhelming numbers, Lin Fan grew concerned. He guessed the screamer zombie had summoned the horde. Nearby, the sound of a door opening echoed. Lin Fan slowly turned in alarm when a small hand grabbed his shirt. It was Yanini, who had somehow managed to reach him. Surprised, he asked, "Why did you come down here?" Yanini burst into tears and said she came because she was worried about him. "You idiot!" Lin Fan looked startled as he stared at her. He gently stroked her head and explained that he had to hold this position. If he retreated, the area behind him would fall. She needed to return to Yang Hui's group because Mrs. Shu still required assistance. Lin Fan pushed her back through the door. Yanini tried asking, "Aren't you afraid?" Facing the zombies, Lin Fan calmly answered, "Of course I'm afraid, but I won't stop and I won't run away." A massive zombie foot slammed violently onto the ground. A gigantic zombie with terrifying red eyes appeared nearby. The moment it spotted Lin Fan, it attacked immediately. The monster received a slash across its chest. Lin Fan's single strike split it cleanly in half. He found it somewhat strange. Lin Fan suspected his sword was becoming stronger as more zombies appeared. He wondered if something inside zombie bodies could strengthen weapons. At that moment, the screamer zombie unleashed another deafening attack. Its terrifying roar sent the zombies in the streets into a frenzy, as though they were being controlled. Lin Fan gripped his sword tightly as exhaustion began overtaking him against the endless waves of zombies. One wave after another was simply too exhausting. Eventually, the horde forced him back against the gate. Watching from above, Hankai started trembling as he saw Lin Fan being cornered. Inside the building, a father held his two daughters tightly while feeling powerless, thinking they should have been studying and growing up safely in a happy environment. Instead, the current reality was far too cruel for them. Yang, standing upstairs, silently watched Lin Fan fighting and felt as though he were watching a scene straight out of a movie. His hands and legs shook uncontrollably. He had once thought that if a zombie apocalypse ever reached this level, suicide might be the better option. He stared downward uneasily, wondering whether the world still had any hope left. Old Zhou Aljin approached him. "Hope. Of course there's still hope. Don't be so pessimistic." He continued speaking. "Think carefully. Look at the people down there." Lin Fan stood alone, carrying humanity's hope on his shoulders and forcing himself to keep fighting to save the world. Meanwhile, the people above only knew despair. "If Lin Fan heard you talking like that, what would he think?" Zugul asked, patting the young man's shoulder. "You only get one life. If you spend it fighting for hope, then even death is worth it." The young man regained his determination. Holding his two daughters, the father looked at Zugul ask. He silently swore that without Lin Fan, Wang Zugul Askin would still be the irreplaceable pillar of the group. Mr. Wang thought to himself that as the eldest there, he could not show fear, and had to keep everyone calm. Below them, Lin Fan fought with everything he had, cutting down every zombie in sight. One lunged at his legs. Lin Fan slammed its head into the pavement. Despite the endless attacks, he still believed he could survive the horde. While fighting, he wondered how many people inside the Huang facility had not yet turned. Spinning around, he unleashed a sweeping slash that tore through nearby zombies. Then someone shouted Lin Fo's name loudly. It was Go Hang, encouraged earlier by Wang Zhonggo. He forced his way toward Lin Fo to warn him that the screamer zombie had attracted a massive horde. Lin Fo swung his blade and knocked several zombies away at once. "I know, Get back inside immediately. The young man retreated, believing that was the most he could do and that the rest now depended on Lin Fo's. Lin Fo began hearing something that sounded like countless voices roaring in the distance. Ignoring the pain, he cut through another wave of zombies. Thanks to the warning, he finally understood the situation. Lin Fo leaped high into the air, already deciding his next move. Moments later, he sprinted across rooftops until he located the screamer zombie. Using a zombie's arm as support, he launched himself downward. Then he glared at the screamer in disgust. "This is all your fault." Lenfin shot forward like lightning, aiming his sword directly at the screamer to finish it off. The zombie panicked and tried to flee. Lenfin attacked without hesitation. "You think you can escape?" He hurled his sword straight through the screamer's torso, splitting it apart as it tried to run away. System notification. Screamer zombie eliminated. 3 points awarded. The door suddenly opened. Hankai rushed outside excitedly to announce that the baby had been born. It was a boy, but his expression quickly changed when he saw Linfin. The MC was in terrible condition. Even after slaughtering the zombies, he was still delirious. Swinging his sword wildly, Linfin kept mumbling, "I can't fall back. Don't let the zombies inside." Another man ran over, grabbed his hand and cried while telling him it was over. "All the zombies are dead." Linfin smiled weakly. "That's good." As soon as he said those words, he collapsed unconscious. When he woke up, the first thing Linfan noticed was his feet soaking in a basin of warm water. Yanini was cleaning him and helping wash his body. Afraid he might misunderstand, Yanini hurriedly explained that she was only helping him bathe. Nothing else happened. Linfan smiled softly. "It's fine, I understand. Go outside so I can change clothes." Embarrassed, Yanini shyly walked out with a bright red face but slipped while leaving. She fell directly into the basin, landing in the water beside Lin Fan, while trying to avoid embarrassing herself. She immediately insisted again that it had been an accident. Outside, Hankai peeked toward the bathroom to see what was happening. Everyone assumed Lin Fan and Yanini were enjoying themselves together. Old Zhu joked about youthful energy while the father covered the little girl's ears to shield her from the noise. A while later, Lin Fan visited Yanggui's room after the birth. Everyone asked about his condition, but Lin Fan said he did not feel tired at all. In fact, he felt stronger than ever. The system showed that Lin Fan's strength had reached 605, a completely superhuman level. Everyone looked at Yanini with teasing smiles, thinking they should ask her how strong Lin Fan really was, while she blushed without knowing what to say. Old Zhu Aljin cleared his throat several times and told Lin Fan to go see the newborn baby. Lin Fan asked the woman if she had chosen a name yet. Since she had just given birth, she still had not decided on one. Madame Zhu explained that Yang Hui wanted her to pick the name, but she had not chosen yet because a name stays with a child forever, so it was an important decision. Lin Fan nodded. "Madame Zhu, you're right." Yan Hui smiled. "Then I'll try to think of one." After a moment of thought, she looked at the baby and said they had not settled on a full name yet, but for now they could call him Juju. Gohang thought Yan Hui still cared about the man who abandoned her. He did not know what to say, but he imagined she must still be hurting deeply inside. A little girl ran up to Lin Fan to brag that neither she nor her sister had been scared the day before, and that old Mr. Wang had even promised to buy her new clothes. Fifi stood behind her awkwardly, wondering why homework was suddenly being mentioned, and sensing something terrible was coming. Lin Fan immediately patted the girl's head and promised he would definitely buy the workbooks for her. The little girl happily turned to Fifi. "Uncle Lin Fan promised to buy us homework books. Aren't you happy?" Fifi thought to herself, "No, I'm not. Ting has suffered enough already. Please stop." Noticing Fifi's expression, Ting suddenly stopped smiling. "Hey, what's wrong with you?" Unable to hold back anymore, Fifi burst into tears. "Ting, now I want to sing a song for you." Sniffling, she began singing. "Listen while I say thank you. Your heart is warm and innocent." Ting had no idea what was happening, but old Zoayun smiled as he watched the two girls. "Look how happy they are," Lin Fan added. "Yeah, they're so happy they're crying." The next morning, Lin Fan woke up and washed his face and brushed his teeth as usual. Afterward, he went outside to exercise and cheerfully greeted Wang Zhongju and old Zoayun, who had also risen early. The old man even complimented his appearance. Lin Fan thanked him but felt embarrassed, realizing Mr. Huang was only trying to keep everyone's spirits high with positive words. Lin Fan spotted Gang and greeted him as well. Gang replied that he planned to reinforce the fences to stop intruders from entering the residential area. Lin Fan left those specialized tasks to him before mentioning that he still had something important to handle. Gohang finally felt he understood why Lin Fan could remain optimistic during the apocalypse. Following rules, respecting order, and holding on to hope were essential to him. At the moment, Lin Fan's biggest concern was the pile of corpses outside his home. If they were left there, they would rot and make the entire area unlivable. The scene shifted to the dump, where Lin Fan handled all the work alone. He was nearly finished because it was the final garbage truck. While dragging a cart loaded with zombie corpses down the road, a vehicle approached. It was the same 4 people from before. This time, the pink-haired woman spotted Lin Fan and pointed at him. The blonde leader narrowed his eyes. "I see him." Inside his mind, he was already planning to run Lin Fan over. Then he slammed his foot onto the accelerator. The companions in the back burst into excited laughter, and instead of stopping him, the other man encouraged the leader's murderous idea. Inside the vehicle, the leader shouted, "Die already," as the car sped straight toward Lin Fan without slowing down. Thanks to his sharp reflexes, Lin Fan dodged the deadly collision at the last second. The leader spun the wheel hard and turned the car around. The tires screeched across the pavement before the vehicle stopped directly in front of Lin Fan. Facing the men trying to kill him, Lin Fan calmly pulled the sword from his back. The leader screamed like a madman, "I'm going to kill you right here." When the car charged again, Lin Fan did not move aside. He stood still and raised his sword high. The moment the vehicle reached him, Lin Fan brought the blade down in a devastating vertical strike that split the car in half, leaving everyone inside horrified. The blonde leader was speechless. He had never imagined Lin Fan possessed such terrifying strength. At the same time, the half of the car holding the leader began breaking apart. Lin Fan looked at his sword and became convinced his earlier theory was correct. Both his body and the sword had grown stronger. Although he still did not know why, the vehicle had been cleanly sliced apart and collapsed onto the road. The leader crawled out covered in scratches. He stood up fearlessly, cursed at Lin Fan, called him insane, and threatened to crush his skull for daring to touch him. Lin Fan asked coldly, "Aren't you the crazy one here? We don't even know each other. Why are you trying to hurt me?" The leader irrationally answered that he could kill whoever he wanted and demanded to know who gave Lin Fan permission to destroy his car. The other two members crawled out in confusion. "What happened?" He snapped back angrily. "How would I know?" Seeing his behavior, Lin Fan could only sigh, realizing the man was nothing more than a loudmouth hothead. Then Lin Fan said something that made everyone freeze. Pointing at the group, he declared, "Fine. If you break the law, then you must accept the consequences. Come with me to the police station." The leader tried to rush forward and punch Lin Fan, but the pink-haired woman quickly grabbed him. He shoved her away and spat at her. "Move aside, filthy woman." Then he clenched his fist and charged at Lin Fan. Lin Fan thought he had never met anyone so unreasonable. He's the kind of person who tramples over others, isn't he? Lin Fan only needed a light block to stop the punch completely. "You talk too much about killing people. You don't have that kind of power," Lin Fan replied. Then with one hand he slammed the blonde man onto the ground hard enough to shake his back. Soon after, Lin Fan tied up the entire group. Their faces were bruised as he dragged them toward an unknown destination. Lin Fan returned to hauling zombie corpses and calmly said, "I'm taking you to the police station." The pink-haired woman nervously repeated, "The police station." The blonde man's two followers suddenly changed their tone with Lin Fan. "It's the apocalypse. Why take us there? We'll do anything. Please let us stay with you." Lin Fan answered coldly. The woman thought to herself, "At times like this, who needs men? Idiots. Watch how it's done." When sweet talk failed, she switched to seduction, using her looks to tempt Lin Fan while bragging about her many talents, but Lin Fan immediately rejected her. In a distant room, someone watched Lin Fan from behind a curtain. It was the pink-haired girl from the nearby apartment. She saw Lin Fan outside, and once again he turned toward her with that strange expression. The look frightened her, and she quickly shut the curtain, convinced he was a pervert, and having no idea what was inside the garbage cart he dragged around. She could not understand how he walked outside without fear. Down below, Lin Fan sighed, thinking she still refused to accept the apocalypse. Since he could not help her, he decided to leave her alone. The scene shifted to the police station. Lin Fan brought the group there. He explained that he had delivered people there before and hoped these ones would also receive proper discipline. The pink-haired woman stayed close to Lin Fan and asked, "Boss, what are you going to do?" Without turning back, Lin Fan walked away and said, "Goodbye. I hope you change your lives and start over." She immediately broke down crying in panic and despair. "What are we supposed to do now?" At that moment, several glowing red eyes appeared in the darkness inside the station. The zombie officers smelled human flesh and began crawling out, moving toward the garbage truck. The next morning, Brother Han woke up early and stepped outside. Only then did he realize Lin Fan had left the previous day and still had not returned. He wondered whether something had happened to him. As soon as he finished speaking, the door opened. Lin Fan appeared waving cheerfully. Then Lin Fan explained the problem. Yesterday he had cleaned up the zombie corpses, but blood was still covering the streets. He needed someone who could drive and wash everything because he did not know how to drive. At first, the young man agreed, but then suddenly remembered something. "Wait a second." Brother Han looked at him in surprise. "You said you can't drive, so how did you bring the vehicle back?" Lin Fan immediately demonstrated. By himself, he lifted the front of the vehicle and dragged it effortlessly, leaving the young man speechless. Upstairs, the old man also spotted Lin Fan and Brother Han below and joked, "Why not bring a truck that plays music? Songs about mothers are the best. A water truck should play music that matches." Madame Chu watched her husband acting childish, walked over, and scolded him. "You're unbelievable. You never act serious." Sometime later, Brother Han and Lin Fan were driving the vehicle together. Lin Fan suggested cleaning another area since they had already finished there. Then the young man became serious, and suddenly asked, "Let me ask you something. Have you thought about what you'll do in the future?" He remembered the old man saying Lin Fan was a good person, and that his behavior during the apocalypse represented hope that society could return to normal. He was not crazy at all. Even so, the young man still could not fully understand Lin Fan's true personality. After hearing the question, Lin Fan looked toward the horizon and replied, "Before this, I was an ignored interior designer. But now I'm different. I'm a protector, and I can do many things." But what the young man truly wanted to know was how far Lin Fan intended to go with his current power. He told Lin Fan that now he could take anything he wanted. Lin Fan corrected him immediately. "Han, you're a soldier, but your thinking is wrong. If you want something, earn it with your own hands. Don't steal from others." Lin Fan's blunt words left him embarrassed. Then Lin Fan concluded, I want to fight through my own efforts, not use the apocalypse to take advantage of people. Suddenly Lin Fan noticed something strange following the vehicle, and told him to stop. A massive brute-type zombie appeared. Lin Fan got out to observe it while Gohang warned him from inside the vehicle to be careful. As he drew his sword, Lin Fan thought, another evolved type, they're appearing more and more often. Suddenly the giant zombie leaped forward and attacked Lin Fan first. The scene shifted to a desert base where someone shouted, stop him, don't let him destroy this place. A gigantic zombie was violently destroying the base's resources. It was another evolved zombie. Even armored vehicles could not stop it. The entire area was in chaos. Inside the base, scientists and researchers desperately called for help. A female commander and an elderly doctor were there as well. The scene returned to Lin Fan's location. The re-evolved zombie roared in pain. Lin Fan's sword had pierced through its head. As he pushed the blade deeper, Lin Fan realized the creature's skull was unbelievably tough, as though something inside resisted his strength. But his power was overwhelming. The tip of the sword reached the zombie's brain. Lin Fan pushed harder, driving the blade deep into the monster's skull and spraying black blood everywhere. Lin Fan successfully killed the evolved zombie, and the system awarded him 3 points. The creature's collapse made the ground shake slightly. Only then did Gohang finally dare to run over and ask, Lin Fan, are you okay? Standing in the middle of the dust, Lin Fan calmly replied, don't worry, I'm fine. Can I protect you? Lun was struck by Lin Fan's presence. Lin Fan noticed his expression and asked, what's wrong? Nothing, he answered. Brother Han felt something stir in his heart. He had always spoken about protecting others, yet almost nobody had ever said they would protect him. Sometime later, a group arrived at the place where Lin Fan had killed the creature, and found the monster's corpse lying in the road. 2 men stepped out of the vehicle to inspect it more closely. The man sitting in the driver's seat shouted, this is the zombie we saw before. But the man dressed in white disagreed. It's not the same one. The other had a bullet wound in its leg. This one doesn't. The young man in the blue shirt standing outside became curious about who had killed the zombie. When he realized the creature had died from a single strike instead of gunfire, the man in white was horrified, because it meant the killer had fought the monster alone and was clearly no ordinary person. There was another person inside the vehicle. The woman sensed danger and urged the driver to leave immediately. The scene shifted to the Sunshine Residential District. The group arrived there. The driver was confused because the place looked extremely clean, as if someone had been organizing everything. Pointing ahead, he said, look at that building entrance. It's been repaired, which means someone lives there. But the woman remained highly cautious. Forget it. Contacting strangers during the apocalypse is dangerous. The young man in blue remembered a desperate boy he had once encountered who had nearly stabbed him to death. In room 74 of Sunshine District, someone knocked on the door. Alert and holding a knife, Lin Fan opened it and asked, Little Yan, do you need something? When Yanni entered, Lin Fan could not help noticing that since moving there, she had become brighter and prettier, and even her clothes left him speechless. Yanni immediately wanted to come inside. Lin Fan happily opened the door for her, and mentioned she was only the second woman to ever enter his apartment. Yanni immediately became bothered. What? Another woman has already been here? She demanded to know who it was. Still holding the knife, Lin Fan answered strangely, Oh, it was my neighbor, but I already cut her to death with this knife. Yanni froze at those words, her voice trembling. Lin Fan, you're really funny. If it were me, I would have run in every direction. Lin Fan awkwardly scratched his head. Some things did not need explaining. If she thought it was a joke, then fine. Still nervous, Yanini said, Lin Fan, maybe you should put the knife down and say you're cooking instead. Yanini sighed in relief, thinking she had overreacted and that he was probably joking. Lin Fan set the knife aside and asked why she came. Yanini sat down awkwardly and admitted the real reason. She wanted him to buy some supplies because her relatives were coming. What she actually meant was that her period was about to start. Lin Fan looked surprised. Her relatives were coming. Her relatives? He thought she was lucky to still have family arriving alive during the apocalypse. I'll buy plenty of things and prepare a feast for them. Not understanding feminine expressions, Lin Fan tilted his head while Yanini waved her hands in embarrassment. No, not like that. There are too many zombies outside. Could you buy sanitary pads for me? Only after she explained clearly did Lin Fan finally understand, nodding awkwardly. Yanini had no choice but to ask him for help. Lin Fan happily agreed. Of course, I'll buy them tomorrow. Yanini also asked him to get some for the other women in the building. The scene shifted to the water treatment station. Hankai and Lin Fan finished checking the equipment and prepared to leave. They rode bicycles to avoid attracting zombies. On the way back, they crossed a large bridge. Hankai, riding behind him, pointed towards survivors on a boat in the distance. Looking closer, there were 2 men and 3 women on board. The men were fishing while the women blasted loud music. Hankai worried they would attract zombies. Lin Fan was unsure whether they should help. He thought the group could at least use river water to cook fish for food. As long as they could swim, they might stay safe. What could be more dangerous during the apocalypse? The 2 continued on and stopped at a bookstore. Lin Fan told Hankai to wait outside. Seeing how eager the 2 girls were to study, Lin Fan bought 10 sets of practice exams, imagining they would be so happy they might cry. Afterward, they went to a baby supply store. Lin Fan gently told Hankai to wait outside again. Lin Fan thought about Ruong, who now had a baby and definitely needed supplies from there. He knew she would be too embarrassed to ask. After some time, they arrived at a supermarket. Lin Fan once again asked Hankai to wait outside. Hankai felt awkward because they only had small bicycles, while Lin Fan kept carrying more and more things. Lin Fan bought many necessities and did not forget the sanitary pads Yanini requested. Suddenly, a zombie appeared from behind. Its tongue stretched all the way to its stomach as it lunged at Lin Fan. The moment Lin Fan saw it, he struck once and sliced it in half. Then he heard more zombies and realized another was approaching. The sound came from the other side. Lin Fan immediately became alert. There's another one too. He rushed toward the noise. Suddenly, Lin Fan found a little boy. He grabbed the boy's hat and jacket, startling him. Lin Fan pulled the child close with one arm and leaped down swiftly. Seeing the boy's terrified face, Lin Fan reassured him. Don't be afraid. I'm human. At that moment, zombies smashed through the doors and stormed inside. The supermarket was instantly flooded with zombies. People panicked and ran while the boy thought Lin Fan was crazy for facing them in such a dangerous situation. As he fled, the boy looked back in confusion. Normally, people ran desperately from zombies. What was happening? That man was actually fighting them. Lin Fan moved quickly, striking repeatedly until the zombies ahead were hacked apart and scattered across the floor. The boy stared in horror at Lin Fan's actions and silently stepped back. Soon, Lin Fan wiped out the horde. He approached the boy and asked what he was doing there. Thinking how unbelievable it was for a child to survive the apocalypse, the boy answered nervously, I came to get food. Lin Fan asked, Are you alone? The boy lowered his head and politely replied, Yes, thank you. I'll go back home now. As the child was about to leave, Lin Fan called out to him, Wait. Lin Fan found it strange that a boy could safely reach a supermarket during times this dangerous, and the child still seemed wary of him. Seeing the boy's miserable condition, Lin Fan suggested taking him home, though the child did not answer. After a while, the two traveled together to the boy's house, and Lin Fan learned his name was Gu Zhang. Hearing the name, Lin Fan remembered a man named Gu whom he had killed and disposed of earlier. He asked the boy if he knew what kind of work Lin Fan did. Before the child could answer, Lin Fan said, I'm a security guard and also a real estate agent. He asked whether the boy lived with his grandfather, and the child politely confirmed that he did. When they arrived at the small house, the boy shouted, Grandpa, I'm home. Inside the tiny room, the boy's grandfather was paralyzed in both legs. The child happily explained that he had found bread and noodles. The old man felt relieved seeing his grandson return safely and was surprised to notice another man accompanying him. When he saw Lin Fan, the old man feared he had come to steal their food, since neighbors had threatened them before and taken everything they had. Noticing the old man's suspicious look, Lin Fan explained directly that he was not a bad person. He had simply run into the boy at the supermarket and wanted to bring him home safely. Zin happily told his grandfather that Lin Fan was incredibly powerful and could wipe out every zombie. The old man felt both relieved and uneasy. So that's what happened. He looked at Lin Fan with gratitude. Young man, thank you for helping us. Lin Fan brushed it off casually. It was nothing, just a small favor. Lin Fan noticed the wall covered in the boy's certificates and praised his talent. The grandfather proudly explained that his grandson was well behaved and earned excellent grades. Lin Fan asked about Gu Zhen's parents, and the old man revealed that the boy's father died saving a drowning person while his mother left with another man, leaving him to raise the child alone. Even so, Gu Zhen remained understanding and obedient. The grandfather became emotional and broke into tears, explaining that they had survived for years on government assistance, but after the apocalypse began, they ran out of food. That was why the boy had gone to the supermarket alone. Without Lin Fan, he might never have returned. The boy hurried over and grabbed his grandfather's hand. Grandpa, don't cry, I'm grown up now. At that moment, the old man tried to stand. Lin Fan immediately stepped forward to support him. The grandfather then begged Lin Fan to take his grandson away. He said there was no need to raise him, only to give him enough food to survive. Holding Lin Fan's hands tightly, the old man pleaded, The boy is obedient and sensible. Please take him with you. I won't come along, I'd only slow you down. The child truly looked pitiful. The old man continued crying heavily. Seeing that, the boy ran forward and pushed Lin Fan away, telling him to leave and stop worrying about them. The child refused to abandon his grandfather. Lin Fan reflected that he had rarely paid attention to people like them before. In normal times, he only noticed the brighter side of life, but those struggling just to survive deserved sympathy. After witnessing their situation, Lin Fan decided to take both the grandfather and grandson with him, assuring them that neither was a burden and that he wanted to help the vulnerable while preserving hope for a better future. He ruffled the boy's hair and told the grandfather that the child was brave and devoted despite all the hardship. Then he asked again if he was the boy's only remaining relative. Could you really endure losing the last member of your family? He added that he understood the pain of losing loved ones. Lin Fan had already experienced that kind of loss himself and did not want people who had already suffered so much to go through it again. Smiling warmly, Lin Fan said, Guzhang, hurry and pack your things. Put on your backpack. I'm taking both of you somewhere safe. The grandfather and grandson smiled brightly. Thank you, thank you. They happily opened the door alongside Lin Fan and stepped outside, only to find someone already waiting there. As soon as he saw them, the man warned, Where are you going? It's dangerous out on the streets. Guzheng pointed at him and said, Sir, that's the man who stole our food before. The old man explained. His name is Kanangi. He's unemployed and survives by stealing. One time he came asking for rice. Zheng opened the door out of pity, but Khan stole everything. The grandfather angrily added that the man had even beaten them that day. But since one was an elderly cripple and the other only a child, they could not fight back. Guzheng bit his lip and blamed himself. It's all my fault. I wasn't strong enough to stop him. Lin Fan comforted him. It's okay. You did well. Leave the rest to me. Then Linfen turned toward Connie and asked directly, "Hey, you stole food from an old man and a child. Aren't you ashamed?" Hearing Linfen raise his voice, the man rolled up his sleeve to show a tattoo and declared, "I didn't steal from anyone. Everything here belongs to me. I'm a gangster. Don't even think about messing with me." But Linfen showed no fear. He stepped forward with an intimidating expression, causing the man to instinctively retreat. "What are you trying to do?" The man shoved Linfen, but his body felt like solid steel and did not move at all. Then he grabbed an object nearby. It was a small chair, and he intended to smash it over Linfen's head before being attacked. Linfen threw a punch and shattered the chair in his hands. The man froze in shock. One punch had destroyed the chair. "Is this guy even human?" Linfen pointed toward the nearby rice bags and asked, "Jung, did he steal those from your house?" Jung immediately recognized them. "Yes, that rice belongs to us." Linfen smiled, picked up the bag, and handed it back to the grandfather and grandson. "All right, let's go." Even after being spared, Qin remained arrogant and shouted after them, "You're just leaving like that?" Zheng pointed at him and replied, "Don't be shameless. He spared you, so don't even think about attacking us from behind." Not long afterward, Linfen brought the two back to the residential area where he lived. Old Zungo and Old Zhu came out to greet them. Meanwhile, Henkai helped push the old man's wheelchair. Old Zungo admired Linfen deeply. In an apocalypse where everyone fought only for themselves, Linfen still brought home an elderly man and a child, truly seeming like the last spark of hope in the end times. Guzheng introduced his grandfather Ginjang to the others. Linfen explained how they met and why he brought them there. Old Zungo greeted them kindly. The more people, the happier the place becomes. He then asked Ginjang's age. After that, they discussed how everyone should address one another. Then Guzheng asked whether Linfen had already prepared a place for them to stay. Linfen replied that everything was ready, and that because Guzheng had difficulty moving around, he would stay on the first floor. At that moment, Yanini and the other women arrived. When Linfen saw Yanini, he pulled out a large bag full of sanitary pads in different types and proudly explained that he had carefully chosen both daytime and nighttime versions. Then Linfen bluntly gave Yanini advice about avoiding menstrual cramps. The only way to get rid of the pain and inconvenience is by getting pregnant. Yanini immediately turned red as a tomato and thought, "Does Linfen want a child with me?" She started imagining things, covered her face in embarrassment, and ran away. "Ah, Linfen, why are you walking so fast? I'm not even ready yet." Once again, Linfen's careless words caused her imagination to spiral. Afterward, Linfen handed 2 bags to Sister Lo and thanked her for taking care of the kitchen. He explained that he bought supplies for her and also sent several boxes to Ruyan and the baby. Madame Shu looked pleased and joked that Linfen was so considerate any woman would be lucky to marry him. Linfen replied that, considering his current situation, nobody would dare choose him as a husband. Remembering he still had more things to hand out, Linfen pulled out several exercise workbooks and happily gave them to Ting and Feifei. Ting accepted the books joyfully with a bright smile. Feifei reacted completely differently. Inside, she was speechless, but she did not dare complain. Linfen told her that if she behaved well, he would continue buying more study materials for her. Feifei clutched the workbook and swallowed her tears, silently crying inside. "Tinging, we're siblings. Please stop loving school so much." After that, Linfen entrusted Guzheng to Madame Shu's care, explaining that the boy was obedient and studious, and asking her to teach him more. The many academic award certificates hanging on the boy's wall made Fifi feel even more devastated. Having one studious girl around was already bad enough, and now Linfen had brought another top student home. And that's where the story ends for now. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. While waiting for the next upload, check out the video on your screen. It's really good too. That's all for now, and of course I'll see you in the next video.